Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Anime Lounge Podcast. I'm your host, Matt, alongside with my other host, Lance. And today we have a good friend of mine named John.
What's up? What's up? What's up?
I'm keeping all that.
It will be in this. Thank you for joining us, John. I know we have spent many of times at work talking about anime, so it's fun to have you join us.
My boss will heavily enjoy that we're getting that talk out of the system.
But why don't you kind of introduce yourself in the best anime way possible? You want to give us your top three-ish?
So I had a friend of mine who asked me like a few days ago, actually, the top three, because he saw it on TikTok. And like low-key, he was surprised by them, but I'll say it. So, it's okay. Mob 100, favorite anime. I love it. I rank on introspection. I love shows that are introspective. Mob 100 is super, like, you watch that show and it changes you.
Oh, interesting.
I suppose. Sure.
Vinland Saga is another one. I like it. People won't say so, but I like the introspection. I like how they do history and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's on my watch list. I need to get into that one.
It's such a good dissection of toxic masculinity in a good, positive way that actually teaches you something. Mm-hmm. I recommend it. Going from watching Baki, which I love Baki, right? And Baki, it's like, what if every single guy was a toxic masculine guy, but to the max to 100? Like, it's even to the point that like the actual show has like pacing contests, and you're like, well, that makes sense.
Okay, that's toxic masculinity.
And then you go to Vinland Saga, and Vinland Saga is like, let yourself go. Do not follow war, because everyone loves you, and you love everyone. And it's just like, oh my god. It was like a therapy session. And then the third one, I'm like, either with Attack on Titan, because it just finished, and it definitely is one of the top shows ever, or Frieren, who just started. But Frieren is because like you just kind of just started, but also has good animation that feels like a movie, and then like also has those like episodes that hit you hard with emotion. So
yep.
But then you got Attack on Titan also, which is just essentially like it's a show, it's a movie, something that you like take on forever.
Yes, Attack on Titan's very epic. We could put it that way.
Yeah,
I was not a huge fan of the ending. Kind of soured.
People say that, but it's like I always like the way I pose it. It's like when you think about the themes of a show, right? It couldn't end in a happy way. Either all of them died or something like that, or he went and did what he wanted to do, everyone wanted to do, and we saw the consequences of it. But I think thematically it fit on the idea that like, hey, you had this what's his name? The guy that does a speech like, my soldiers, we will go ahead.
Oh, the captain guy.
Yeah.
I don't remember his name, but I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, like it's just fits thematically on that. I feel like where it's like, hey, like it doesn't matter what we are, we're facing all these big things and these monsters, and it's like it fits on that like metaphorically part of it. And then you have this moment where it's like the ending of it has a meaning of it, and it's like, oh, it fits, and so I'm not gonna like get any points off because they didn't make me happy. Because they didn't make me happy, I was upset with that ending also.
I'll give you that one.
That's a solid, and for me and Matt, that's a very new kind of top tier kind of a list for us to hear. So that's very nice to know.
Yeah, what do people usually say?
Mine is Frieren anyway.
Frieren, yeah.
Frieren's definitely joining my list.
It's too fresh. It's too fresh.
So
that's what it is. If it had 5 seasons, as Ophi's 5 seasons slap, or 4 seasons, it could climb if it kept the momentum.
Mob and Vinland Saga,
those are definitely new.
Those are definitely new for us to hear about being on anybody's top. So that's very interesting to hear. So it's a nice perspective to get something in here.
Yeah, we've had like Hunter x Hunter, Bleach, Naruto. Trying to think of some
just
other.
A lot of the top stuff.
Yeah, Ancient Magus Bride. Just some.
Oh, I gotta see that one. I've been meaning to.
It's very good. It's very introspective, so it's got some deep meaningful plots to it. So it's good.
It's a good fantasy story.
Hey, if it makes me consider my life and makes me have a little tear tonight, that it wins. It wins.
So the other thing is what got you into anime. Obviously, you are around our age, so you've been watching anime for a long time.
Yeah.
What kind of got you into it? Because it was not popular.
Toonami, bro. Remember, does anyone, I don't know, maybe this is going to age me. Remember Toonami before it was Tom?
Mm-hmm.
It was actually one of the Space Ghost villains doing to the Toonami show, and they did that man with the mask, they did the scarab guy.
Oh, the guy with the black mask and the white suit?
Yeah,
He had his own like talk show episodes.
Yeah.
I remember he used to introduce
Toonami, and it was like this like almost like fan dubbing almost that they used to do on top of it. And he was like, you used to watch Sailor Moon and Dragon Ball right afterwards. And he was like, it was so great because it was like Dragon Ball is like for the guys, and then like Sailor Moon was for the girls, but you still enjoyed all of them the same way. Like that was like my introduction to it. Because you only had cable. I was in Puerto Rico, and we only had cable, and that was like the only cartoon episode that they had. You know,
It's fair.
along with Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh, because when you go to Walmart, that's the big thing you got.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah. So nice, straight and simple. Toonami, just everything.
Toonami, just give me the Toonami love.
Can feel you on that one. That was definitely helped us, especially.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, that was a great list. To continue with our normal format, we like to introduce what we're drinking for this episode. So today, I will be drinking some E.H. Taylor, and I will be washing that back with some traditional New Glarus spotted cow. What about you, Matt?
We can definitely call it a tradition at this point because it's pretty much what we always drink. But I am drinking some Willet bourbon whiskey, and then also sticking to tradition. And John, you're going out of the norm for us. What are you having?
I'm having my mocha frappuccino. I gotta say it in a deeper voice, you know, because if you say anything in Starbucks in normal voice, you sound a little bit like blonde, Legally Blonde. So you gotta go like, I got my mocha frappuccino venti sized.
Yeah, just man up a little bit.
Man up a little bit. Yeah. Now you go like, mocha frappuccino venti size. Holla, girl.
Oh, you know it.
You know it.
Extra whip and fat-free latte.
Exactly.
And now that we have our drinks settled, Matt, what are we going to be talking about today?
All right, for the half of a 1% of person that doesn't know what we're covering, we are covering season 4 of Demon Slayer, and this is the Hashira training arc, and it is exactly as it sounds. It is the Hashira training in order to try and get their essentially demon marks to become stronger. That's the whole premise of the season.
Or at least try to get them to begin with.
Yes. So it's very quick. All the characters are here this season, so you get a little bit of everything. And yeah, I enjoyed this one. But before we actually get into that, Lance, you want to surprise us with Lance's lessons today?
Today's Lance's lessons is going to be just a little different. Instead of giving you a straight up translation, I'm going to kind of describe what Hashira means. Hashira doesn't have like a perfect translation. There's kind of like a multiple kind of things of what it can translate into. The idea of Hashira typically translates to a pillar, someone to look up to. It's an upholder. It's a column, something strong and supportive. And really just think of it as a pillar. So Hashira is going to be the pillar and the hope of the future for this kind of sake, I guess I can say. So I'm sure a lot of people are kind of interested in what Hashira kind of means. So just throwing that out there for everybody.
Cool. Awesome. I know I have seen some translational things where they're called pillars instead of Hashira. So that thanks for the clarification where it's just, we translated it too far.
Yeah. Don't do it literally. Hashira just sounds more fun.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
That makes sense for them. But it's interesting that like they name it that, considering like what they explain in the story, where like they are the pillars. They're literally the pillars of the Demon Slayer Corps because nobody else can like build that house, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, seriously.
Because it's like I'm watching even when this season, like something that they do a lot is kind of like showcase that Hashira are just built different compared to everyone, and everyone is just like, yeah, we can barely stand up at this point. Like it makes sense that they're called what they're called.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. They've definitely earned their titles. And next in format, Matt reads the manga for every episode, and he has read everything for this. So is there any kind of differences between the anime and the manga? NANI?
Yes, absolutely. For anybody that is curious, this season covered about 12 chapters. So it was 128 to 140.
Just 12 chapters.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
So tiny.
It was very short. It was also only 8 episodes, and it'll make a little more sense in the future. Also, the last section, as everybody knows, is going to be 3 movies, which again, we'll talk about later on. I know we will. Mm-hmm. That is going to cover 67 chapters. So there's 207 chapters total, and so we have 67 left in the series.
Wow.
67 chapters long?
Yeah.
That's impressive.
For the last bit of it, yeah.
So that's you're so used to shows going on for forever that when like you hit that 77 chapter mark, you like get surprised. You're like, oh wait, what?
So I'm definitely looking forward to that. So for some clarification for anybody who hasn't listened to our season 3 episode, the end of season 3 does not happen in the same manner. So of course the beginning of season 4 is going to be different because there's some different cutoff points. Because it's Lantz, if you remember that whole like celebratory Tanjiro leaving the village, that doesn't happen.
Right.
It's Tanjiro at the
Hashira ground.
The Hashira mansion getting basically recovering.
Mm-hmm.
So the season starts with Tanjiro talking to I don't know exactly what he's called, but the person that brought him the food, they're talking. That's how the manga starts. The first 10-ish minutes of the first episode, that doesn't happen either.
Oh, that's interesting.
Which, if you think about it, makes a lot of sense.
It makes a lot of sense because they're just recovering from the damage, like did like the last fight. But in this case, like they're just they're trying to like do more emotional connections to the village they protected. I'm guessing.
As far as season 4 is concerned, the first 10 minutes of season 4. So that is the serpent and the wind Hashira going to save that girl in the mansion that was run down. That doesn't happen.
Oh, really?
Like literally nothing.
None of that happens.
Okay, well that's good because I was going to bring this up later. Like the wind Hashira and the serpent Hashira go check out this place. Every demon disappears, and then they never fucking talk about it.
Yep.
So that makes a lot of sense why the anime doesn't do anything about that because it never happened in the manga to begin with.
Everybody would have known about this supposed mansion in this supposed space if it had happened.
Exactly.
So that's something, because they would have went back and told everybody that, hey, we were in this space with a bunch of demons and then we weren't there anymore.
Yeah.
How did this happen? Something would have been brought up.
Right. That's too crazy to just turn the cheek.
But I think it's also like interesting because what it does as an audience member, because I didn't read the manga, so like I only comment fresh from the anime eyes, is that it's also like a way of showcasing that this mansion can take a lot of people, which is never hasn't done before, right?
Yep.
The way I've conceptualized the mansion is that there's just portals, like small portals, right?
Yep.
It's not a big event. It's never been a big event, right?
Yep.
But then with this one, like it's true that there's this almost like a retconning of like, hey, everyone would have known what happened, right? But at the same time, like it just you as an audience, like it starts with that and it ends with that. So then it's almost like it feels fulfilling to be like, oh, so this thing is actually a danger and how it poses a danger. And it doesn't come out of left field. I'm guessing as a manga reader, you just connect the points and like follow through. It definitely does simplify that idea. It's like the Chekhov's gun, right? Like you're setting up for like later on to be fulfilled and then see like, hey, what does this castle mean? Because this is going to play a big deal later on. Yeah,
but so instead, because you have the chapters with you, because 140 is, you're going to want to start reading on 140 because it continues with basically the Infinity Castle arc, which is, I want to say book 13. I think. And so you'll just keep reading. So you don't have to wait for the season to be made. So you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
And it's almost more impactful because if you remember the moment in which everybody essentially gets sucked into this castle is right when they're getting ready to fight Muzan. And then it's like, just kidding. I actually ensnared all of you into this trap. And now you're going to fight against all my demons.
Yeah.
So it's...
Yeah, you just play the reverse card.
Yeah, Uno reverse.
Yeah.
So, no Wind or Serpent Hashira fighting, no conversation between Kano and Shinobu. Zenitsu coming back, that part doesn't happen at all.
So that super funny part where Nezuko messes up her name or Zenitsu's name for the warhead.
Inosuke.
Damn. Okay, that was funny. The Inosuke one was funny. The Zenitsu stuff, like it doesn't work that as well,
Yeah, no. So probably one of my favorite parts of the entire season. Yeah, no, that doesn't happen in the manga.
Damn, that's so strange. I mean, good for the anime throwing in that really solid comedy portion because that was good. I definitely like that one.
It's funny because when you guys say it's like funny, there's like also a hint of sarcasm, but not sarcasm at the same time because it's like the Inosuke part, it's super funny. Like that he's just such a dummy that he goes like, just tell me my name, and he's just weird about it because he doesn't know how to communicate with women, only with animals. So he's like just like an animal.
Oh yeah, so that means that part wasn't even in it.
No,
or in Inosuke's like demanding her to know his name too, and like
absolutely. Yeah.
Oh my god, I love that part so much. That was so Inosuke.
Yes. I can't say anybody else's name right, mainly Tanjiro.
Yeah.
But you have to say my name. Yes.
But
yes.
also kind of the thing about that also adds to it is that, like you said, like he doesn't know Tanjiro's name. He doesn't care about names.
Yes.
But he cares about Nezuko so much that he wants her to know his name.
Yes.
And it's like he treats her with the same mentality that he treats himself, that you need to repeat the name multiple times. And it's just like so it adds also to the humor of him not knowing names, because it means that he doesn't bother to repeat the names of anyone he knows.
Well, I guess it'd be kind of funny to see in the reverse. Like, does Inosuke even realize what her name is? Or does he just see her as some kind of subject below him, and he just needs her to follow him and make sure that...
I'm going to guess that one.
Yeah, okay. That's what I'm gonna guess as well.
But it's also like interesting because like with all the characters, like Nezuko is this this loved child for everyone.
Yep.
So it wouldn't even get past me if he thinks of her differently, because like she's just this thing that we gotta protect. And also they emphasize heavily that she's just the most beautiful girl ever, and that's why everyone's like that.
Yes.
So I would be surprised if they go like, oh yeah, Inosuke is also like everyone else. She's just the most gorgeous, most precious thing, and he's just gonna be like do the extra effort for that.
No sushi for the rest of her life from Zenitsu. So then I'm going to start going into kind of breaking down how long it took for Tanjiro to get through everything. Tanjiro spent 4 days annoying Gyu enough to get him to tell him what was bothering him. So it took him 4 days, consistently 4 days, just back to back to back, coming back to Gyu's house to get him to tell him what was wrong.
I would have assumed a solid 2, but...
Also,
4 days?
Did they clarify in the manga that it was 4 days?
Mm-hmm.
I see that with that one they didn't clarify. I'm not sure if it makes. I think the amount of bugging that he does, anyways, if it's 2 days, 1 days, or whatever, it's enough.
24 hours, they would have just been like, oh my god, fine, yes, this is what's going on.
So this is one of the things. Like it's like Demon Slayer knows how to do humor, and there's times that he doesn't know how to do humor, right?
Yes.
And this is one of those times where like that moment is good for humor because it's so relatable, and I go to Facebook, right, a lot, and like people use like clips for memes and whatnot, and this one is one that's like, oh, when your boyfriend is mad at you and you're trying to get his attention, or vice versa, and you're constantly bugging them, like, and whatnot. And it's always surprising to me that, because for me, Demon Slayer has never been like, they want to do comedy, and there's moments that they do comedy and it just doesn't hit at all. And then they just have these gems over here, like that one. That's like, oh yeah, I'm like that in my life.
Yeah, Demon Slayer does a lot of like just one page. If it sticks, great. It's super funny. And if it doesn't, it's like, it was so short, it doesn't matter anyways.
Right.
Yeah.
Do they do like the chibi faces,
yes,
like the blank
all the
faces
time.
in the
all
manga?
The time.
Great. Okay, great.
Yeah, pretty much every time you see it in the anime, you'll see it in the manga.
Okay.
Great translation.
Tanjiro spent 10 days training with Tengen. So basically reworking
10 days?
10 days, gaining his stamina.
God, that felt like it was only, again, like 2 days.
Yeah,
like, he was there busting ass, showing everybody what's up, and then he was out.
Yeah, they basically made it seem like he gained all of his stamina the first day, proved himself the very next afternoon, and then that evening was his fight. And no, it was 10 days.
See, in the show, what they do is that, like, at least on me, who just watches the anime, what I thought was is that, like, because Tanjiro has been on the front lines, has been like having to prove himself in the most horrible fashion ever, right, with no skills and like learning from the get go, is that like he gained all this stuff prior, and it was almost like a way of, it's like when you play a video game and you go back to the older levels, like, and you realize that you powered up. Yep. So a lot of it made it seem like that in the anime. Like 10 days in the manga makes, okay, you train and whatnot, but like in the anime it's like, oh, it's easy for him because you already have like 3 or 5 fights with the high level demons. Yep. And he had to pull it over and over and over again. So it would make sense that he's a level above, because it's like he's punching above his weight class always.
Yep. Mm-hmm. He has literally fought every single upper moon that has been fought at this point.
Exactly. He's there. If it's an upper moon, he's almost like high level. He's there for some reason. So it just made sense because considering how much and also because the show does a great job of showing how much of a struggle it is. When they're breaking bones, he cannot breathe. Like there was that phenomenal entertainment arc where there's moments in the show where it's like, I can't breathe. Like what do I do? As someone who watches a lot of fan edits for working out, it's like, oh, you can't breathe, Tanjiro? I'm with you lifting weights. And I can also breathe. So I always thought that because it was so short because it was just coming back to Tengen, seeing how he is, and then moving forward with showcasing that Tanjiro is built different because of everything he's went through.
I mean, he is built different. Most of these people spent, weeks to a month and still barely got through. So 10 days is still very impressive.
Yeah.
Then he spent 5 days with Tokuto. They don't have
again, that was so quick.
Yeah, they made it seem like
God, the anime just fucking zipped by everything.
They did the same thing in the manga, but it was like, all right, I'm training, and 5 days has passed. All right, I've passed, yay! Kind of. That's basically what they did.
Okay, so they even fast forward in the manga.
Yes,
makes sense.
Training montage,
pretty much. They did not have the paper airplane thing.
They did not?
No, that was
I'm so glad you said that because this entire time waiting for this conversation to happen, I was waiting for you to say this, and I'm so glad you said it didn't happen because now I feel like the studio that animated this had some person inside the studios like, hey, I really want to throw some paper airplanes. I found this really cool program that makes me have to do it. So can we please just insert it? And it just happened. And they're like, fuck it, fine. We have so much time to fill up. I don't know how I'm going to make this into 12 episodes. So yeah, let's just fucking throw some airplanes.
Do you guys think that it adds or subtracts from the idea that you're trying to portray about the Hashira and about the soldiers trying to get together? How do you feel like that's theme? Do you think it adds to the theme or subtracts from the theme?
I would say mostly subtracts.
Okay.
But from the main idea, it subtracts. But at the other side of the coin, you need to have your crew have a little bit of fun so that they're not just beaten down the entire time. So you need fun with the work.
I like the growth that they give to Tokuto, but that's about it.
See, for me, watching it, I didn't mind as much. Sometimes I have problems with side quests because side quest stuff, it doesn't make sense. It's a lot of problems that Hollywood movies have nowadays, that they want everything to be a video game and they do side quests that don't matter.
Yep.
For me, this one wasn't that much of a negative, only because it brings me back to old school army or cop movies where they're trying to teach all these people how to become cops or become army members. And usually a side thing that they do is that they all connect in some way or form by doing something dumb, right?
Yep.
And at some point, we know that Tanjiro is gonna be fine, or we assume because he's plot armor and he's the main character. We think the Hashira are gonna be okay, but we don't know about the other soldiers. And the only thing that we know about the other soldiers and the rest of the Demon Slayer Corps is that they're super incompetent. They're not gonna survive and they're not gonna do anything. So it was almost a shift in the perspective on how they are incompetent, that they came into this paper plane thing. But it was a moment of shifting the ideas of what's the main Hashira on that one? What's his name again? Tokuto, where he says, "Hey, I'm perfect. I'm a genius." Right? That's how they portray him. And it's a way of them to connect with the other Demon Slayers who can't even do a paper airplane. But it's by working together, they can almost compete with him. Which I haven't read the Infinite Castle arc, but I'm guessing that that's gonna play out later, where it's hey, the Demon Slayer Corp is super weak. The only people that matter are the pillars. Hashira, and so it's it gives them a little more of, it gives you a little more of you have more, what do you call it, money behind them. There's a saying for that.
Yep.
But you have more stakes with them because now it's oh, you're involved in the stakes of them working together, on them learning how to work together. That they're not alone, because they could never be like a Hashira.
Yeah.
So it's super lame, right? Because it's we're doing hobbies together, but in some ways it's a cheaper perspective of just seeing them as cannon fodder, like stormtroopers, versus seeing them as these Demon Slayer Corps, this army or marine or cop entity that's trying to work together in some way or form, and they can't because they're weak and incompetent, like they always Joan.
Is it bad? All I thought of was, wow, that's a lot of paper for that period of time.
That too, and I also wondered, aren't we in the past? Is airplanes even a real thing at this time?
Absolutely not.
Are they? But they're like they showcase with they're almost like in this theme era.
This is Edo
technology.
era, right?
Yeah, it'd be an Edo period.
Edo period.
Yeah.
But they have the train though, and they have the clothing that's like a little more like Wright Brothers, if I'm not mistaken.
I suppose, but I feel like Demon Slayer is supposed to be like Edo-ish.
I thought about it the same way, but
Yeah.
then when they got to the big city and how like even how Mugen,
Yep.
yeah, how he dresses, it's like suit and tie.
Muzan.
Musan, yeah, like he does the Michael Jackson old school attire,
Mhm.
but it's more modern than it used to be, and they also classified where it's like our main characters are like way back in the countryside and
Yep.
they don't face anything else. So when they see the train for the first time, which is more modern, they think it's like an animal, for example, and they're surprised by it.
Well, only one person thinks it's an animal, and it's the animal of the group. So
yeah.
No, I gotta.
You gotta Google it real quick.
Okay, so just Googled it. Demon Slayer takes place in the Taisho period.
okay,
Taisho takes place in 1912 to 1926.
oh, so yeah,
See?
planes.
Yeah.
Planes are a thing.
And
Yeah.
now planes were invented in 1903. So, yes, planes are very much a real thing. Paper airplanes might be a different story, but planes were a realistic thing back at that time.
Yeah, see, because they have electricity in the city, if I'm not mistaken. Right?
Yes,
Yeah.
you're right. They did. All right. Well, shows what we know.
Because that's a huge time that I was super surprised because I'm so used to like anime being Edo period because like and many people are like Samurai Champloo. I love Samurai Champloo.
Yeah, they did
Yeah.
bring up Edo period. Like in time, like every time Edo was brought up was when Tanjiro was talking about the past. So it makes sense that that's why it's on our forefront.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. So as far as training's concerned, Tanjiro spent 4 days with Iguro. So
Iguro is the
serpent.
Just so our listeners know.
They don't have the 3 Hashira sparring event, so you don't see that.
Really? They
Yeah.
don't meet up in the middle of the night? Just
No, you don't see it. I mean, they might.
As a manga reader, that would annoy. I'll get into my personal thoughts in the future, but knowing that would annoy me. Yeah.
Yes. After I'm seeing it, I'm like, I wish that was there. But as far as the fights are concerned, the fights in the anime are so spectacular that I'm not complaining because it probably only would have been 1 or 2 pages.
Right.
So it would have been super short anyways. So it's just kind of cool to see after the fact.
So at no time do we see the Win Hashira training one-on-one with at least another Hashira.
Nope. Well, technically you do because he fights with Gyu at the very end.
Okay, so that happens.
That one happens, but
Okay.
not the
Serpent.
Tokuto Gyu or Tokuto Shinigazawa and
Shinigazawa is
or-
the Win
yeah.
Hashira.
the Win Hashira, and then Iguro, which is the snake.
Okay, so
Those three.
that moment, just that specific moment.
Yes,
doesn't happen.
yes.
Okay. So are you going to get into it or can I jump ahead? Does the whole like the Win Hashira likes his red bean mochi?
Yeah, that happens.
That does? Okay,
yes,
okay.
yes. And then he's like, well, maybe I should have some in my pocket.
In my sleeve, yeah.
Yeah. So that part does happen.
Okay.
It took 6 days for Tanjiro to move the boulder, and Hajimiya was watching Genya and Tanjiro talking. Basically before it happens, you see him in the background. Basically, I say watching. He can't see anything, so he's not actually watching. But he's in the background of
I'm
that
pretty
conversation.
sure that does happen because
Okay.
there was a quick scene where he was standing behind a tree. I don't remember exactly what position or when he was listening to what conversation, but there was a time where he was like eavesdropping on something.
Okay, yeah, it was probably that period of time then.
Probably, yeah. That would make sense.
One thing that's kind of disappointing is the entrance for Muzan is not nearly as dramatic.
In the manga.
Yeah, he's basically just
Yeah, what are they
there.
going to show? 500 pages of him just strictly walking?
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm not gonna lie, the TikToks that came out of that walking scene were worth every single moment.
Yes.
They played that hard.
yes.
Yeah.
Gotta give them their credit.
It's a full 5 minutes of theatrical.
Mhm.
But
Events.
when you got aura and swag, like when's the last time you seen like a huge villain come out there with that amount of aura? Like
No.
it's just phenomenal. And I
Yes.
think like definitely because it's unexpected that he will show up to begin with, right?
Yep.
For him to just show up out of nowhere, it without ceremony, like it would feel just like coming out of nowhere.
Yep.
So him doing that like red carpet walk, which was a red carpet walk.
100%. Yeah, that was perfect.
Yeah.
The only thing I would change about that is to add a little bit more bass to the music. I just need, like, there was the ripples and then the camera shaking and stuff like that. I fucking loved it. I just wanted a little bit more bass.
Just a little more impact to maybe the steps or something like that. Just because,
it's a little bit more aggressive because it was so fucking stupid, but it was so fantastic at the same time. Like, just I got
chills. Like the first time, I definitely got chills.
Like, watching this when the episode dropped in Japanese, it was beautiful. I'm pretty sure I had goosebumps that first time.
Yep.
But sorry, I got headphones in. I'm feeling all of the music. I'm feeling all of everything is in my ears very specifically. Just give me a little bit more bass. That's all I wanted.
So you're saying that the TikTok Smooth Criminal 3-minute compilation would not work?
No, all the TikToks, they did their due justice.
Yes.
Because that's what I got. I was like, yes, I'm rolling with this. I'm rolling with this. Because it was like so baffling at first because you don't expect it, but you're like, at some point, I remember like walking. I'm like in my treadmill. I'm like, is this keep on going? It's so comical.
So in the manga,
yes,
clearly he had to have at least done some kind of panel or two of him walking.
No, he's just there. Like you're reading,
teleports.
And then it's bam, him right in front of the
door,
not the door, but
the old man
in front of. Well, he's not old; he's like 27. But yes.
Oh yeah, Ubayashi's
where he's laying down. Yeah,
he's not an old man.
So they play more. So they play more on the idea of him being like a demon slayer. It's called demon slayer, but they're vampires. I know you guys talked about that before, but like it definitely plays more on the idea of him being a vampire creature than like in the show where it's more played out like a final boss in some ways. So
Ooh,
absolutely.
It's super funny that you're saying vampire. I'm sorry, I've never even heard this process before. But there's that wisteria plant or whatever.
Yes.
That prevents demons from coming.
Oh yeah.
That's just making me think about the lore of like vampires are not allowed to enter a building unless they're invited into. So it's like that wisteria is that barrier.
Yep.
So like they're not invited. So like no, you can all come in.
Yeah, or garlic.
But anyway,
it makes sense. It just adds to the idea, which is
that was just my first thought that came across. But
no, but it makes sense though because the way they treat these characters, at least the demon characters, there's a lot of like vampire creatures, and like there's definitely like that parallel going for it. And I think it's just more inspiration. I don't know. I'm not sure from the author how much of it's inspiration and how much is parallel. But I'm pretty sure
demons can go in any direction, really.
Yeah.
Which is why I was surprised when I first started watching the show. It's like, oh, like we're not gonna acknowledge that these are just vampires at this point.
Yeah, I mean, the sun kills them.
The sun kills them.
Yeah.
They bite you and you transform into them. Like
well, technically only Muzan can transform them.
And the girl who's trying to take blood samples, she was able to transform that white-haired guy, her student.
Yeah, I think that's just a plot hole.
Yes, we've talked about this in our past episodes. Like, yes, Muzan was supposed to be the only one who can transform others into demons, but also she did it. So, why?
Yeah, I think it's just a plot hole. So
let's just skip over that.
Yes. So, anyways, as far I just have a couple more things.
Sure.
One thing is you find out that Hajimiya is 27.
Hajimiya is the Stone Hashira?
Yep, the Stone Hashira. And so this is at the very, very, very end as they're all falling into the Infinity Castle. Gyu actually saves Tanjiro by grabbing him and pulling him onto a bridge because Tanjiro is like, oh crap, I'm going to fall. I can't catch myself. Like, what's going to happen? He doesn't have this dramatic, like, superhero landing. No, Gyu basically grabs onto his kimono and pulls him onto a bridge.
Oh, okay.
As he's falling. And then you only see, at least at that point, you only see the Hashira that are surrounded by Muzan that get brought into the Infinity Castle. So you don't know about anybody else at this point.
Oh, really? They do the whole thing where everyone...
No, it's a little bit of a spoiler. You're going to know about everybody else, but they don't do it all at once.
Oh, okay.
So that's just a little bit of a difference between how they do it in the anime, which makes complete sense because we want to know all of our characters are there. We want to know all of our people are there. Yeah. We want to know what to expect. In the manga, you have it, so you don't have to worry about it.
So for as far as spoilers go and who is invited into this dimension, is it just exactly who we saw, or is this going to branch out to where
it's what you assume it's going to be?
Okay, I was gonna say, cause like, are we gonna be like surprised by any random ass thing in like some other city that's 100 kilometers away or something like that, or is it just gonna be exactly who we know it's gonna be? Like these grunts and the Hashira.
Yeah, it's gonna be everybody,
just the important people.
I think they talk during the conversation that Muzan has with his drawing a blank on what her name is, but basically the woman with the eye and the old school guitar. With the pick guitar.
Oh yeah, she had that one eye, and she's the one that was spying on everybody.
Yeah, I think she said she can.
Starts with a B.
Yeah, yeah, I know exactly what you're. Anyway, I think they say she finds like 80. She knows where 80% of them are. So basically, she knows where all the important people are, and the people that don't join are nobody. So it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, she doesn't know where target number 1 is.
Yeah, Nezuko
and Urokodaki.
Well, they don't know that she's with Urokodaki,
right.
So they just think that they wouldn't care about him because he's just some old man.
I mean, he is an ex-Hashira.
Yeah, but he's retired, so it's like strong enough to defend himself, but he's not necessarily a threat.
Right. He's been in the forest for the longest time, making no noise whatsoever. Mm-hmm. So yeah, why bother?
That's surprising because like I just me watching it from the show, I would assume that it was like almost everyone. Like their jokes, even the jokes online were like, "Oh, you signed up for the Demon Slayer Corps emailing list, so you know you're going in there." Because like it was everybody, period. And I mean, it's surprising that that they did from the manga, right? And I think I guess it's for build up mostly than anything else because you're like getting for the next chapter. But and then this is the end of season. They gotta build it up, right? And that's such a good ending for an episode for a season.
Yes,
because it's just like, oh, so this is what we're doing, right? Like we got caught. All of us got caught off guard. So like adding to my TikTok brain rot, the best edit I've seen of that idea is that like they do every single character from every single show from every single dimension, including friends, jumping into the Infinite Castle.
Yep.
Have you guys seen that?
I saw one and it was Anya, and she was like the main focal point.
Oh, I love seeing Anya just jump back and forth between all anime and just being a little bit of everything.
Yeah, like, she's definitely the fourth wall killer.
Yeah. Anya opened up a domain expansion. When I saw that meme, it was so goddamn funny.
Yes, absolutely.
Giving Kermit the run for his money.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, Kermit used to be the fourth wall breaker.
But that is all I have as far as the manga is concerned.
So a few changes. Do you guys feel like the changes change a lot? Like change the rating you would give the story or where it leads? Because that's always for me, like when people talk about changes, especially someone who who loves Marvel or comics and they see it transferred and whatnot, a lot of conversation is like, it's not just about the positive and negatives, but how thematically and how it made you feel and how it led you to a story. Do you guys feel like it did a lot of changes? Were they positive, negative? Did they maintain it?
This is more or less how we feel about the season in itself. Knowing now what we know about the manga, I'm still very content with how the anime was portrayed and everything. Contrary to a lot of the internet who loves to shit on this season.
Yeah,
I totally understand. I don't blame all of them for anything. I feel like maybe they
want to complain to complain.
Yeah, they're all just a bunch of bitches that just want to complain.
Yeah,
like when something's popular, you're gonna get crapped on no matter what.
Yep.
Yeah,
that's just rule of law.
Yeah, their expectations are just way too high. And this is a moment where we need to take a step back, train, learn a little bit more about a couple more people. Yes, surprisingly enough, this was only a small handful of chapters. So yes, this was very elongated, and we did get a lot of extra content anime-wise. That got elongated, and we got some extra things. So far, I would like to imagine they were all pros. I mean, we got a very funny scene with Inosuke. Totally worth it.
Absolutely.
This whole season was basically supposed to be comedy until we're ready for the final episode to bring us really back into the real deal.
Calm before the storm, and then you have like the very blunt of the start of the storm with the explosion. Mm-hmm. And then you have just like a breath, and now you're going to go into the Infinity Castle because it's all right, we're going to give a little bit of just here's some training, here's some, actually get to know everybody, because really at this point you haven't gotten to meet any of the Hashira or any of the extra Hashiras.
Right.
And so you get to a little bit of them, and now we're going to go into the last night to remember.
See, the thing, like, people want to complain about it being just a training arc and whatnot. Mm-hmm. This is the thing. It's setting up for the movies, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But here's what it does. Like, if people can understand, like, what is this season doing unto itself? It's just not your Saturday morning cartoon, right? I mean, it just has a feeling of a Saturday morning cartoon. But what it's doing is what doing every single movie or every single show does. Like, before it kills any character, it makes you get to know them a bit.
Absolutely.
So by doing that, it's almost like removing the safety nets that any other character would have. Mm-hmm. Because if at this point, I haven't seen anything, so no spoilers, right? I haven't seen anything. It's speculation. Everybody's gonna die. People are gonna die in this next season or in these movies on how they build it, because it's what people do. You know, it's like any character in any movie. Oh, you're getting a lot of screen time today. Thank you for letting me know about how your favorite color is blue. That's not gonna play a part at all. Like in the next 5 minutes, is it?
You're not the main character, so here we go.
Yeah. So I think if people like want to complain, it's just they're doing a setup for the movies that are gonna come out.
Yep.
And it's just removing the plot armor that any character can have, because now they have the fulfilling nature of a character, which is like they have a story, they have a theme, they have a purpose. So if they go, every single action scene is going to have more power now.
Yep.
And it's also adds to the fact that they already did it. They did it with the what's it called, the train arc.
Oh, you're Rengoku.
Rengoku already died. So you know that no matter how much they build a character, and Rengoku's a well-built character, we have this, every single Hashira has the same kind of background as he does in some similar way. The backstory, the power-up, the way they view the world in a different way. So now they're telling us, yeah, everything's fair game. And everything will be fair game. So if your favorite Hashira dies, boo-hoo. Like, that's what they're doing.
Yep.
So you can't like just have it go to waste, you know?
Yep.
It could be shocking if you have it right off the get-go, but the problem with a character dying so right away, it can be that it feels cheap, right?
Yep.
So I think it's just adding to that sense of, like, as a writer, you have to like understand where your artist is coming from, what they might understand, and for some shows it can be fine for that to happen, that your character dies right away. I know JJK has done it. And I remember eating my turkey on that Thanksgiving and almost crying on top of my turkey. But like, I think for this is being the fourth season of the show and having developed the characters in the way they have developed them, it definitely is a way of them having that plot armor removed slowly.
That, and just because of how the story went, like, this would have been really weird to make it season 3. And it would have been also very weird to make it into the Infinity Castle arc. Like, you're just going to have a mini season within a bigger season. Like, the Infinity Castle arc is so much, and it happens all so quickly, that it wouldn't make sense to have this essentially 3-week period of time before that arc. So as far as the story's concerned, like, everybody would have complained no matter what, because you could have made it a really weird season in season 3, or you could have made it just kind of a boring start to what would have been season 4.
Also, I would like to throw into this, if this portion of seasons was to be fast forwarded through a montage or even condensed into anything smaller than it was, this would have been a chunk of information that future people would have ever said, like, I wish I could have seen some actual training coming out of people.
Why couldn't you have given me 6 episodes instead of 3 episodes or 2 episodes for this whole thing?
I mean, this whole thing could have just been like, yeah, don't skip out on giving me more information. And this is one of those times, like, this is me giving you more information. Don't bitch about it because I didn't give it to you in retrospect. So we have to remember that this is necessary. We need this dip in story in order to truly appreciate what's going to come next. So this is 100% necessary for what's going to come.
So here's also the thing too, like, as anime viewers, something that we understand is a lot of tropes, right? We see tropes a mile away because anime is such a competitive market where they are constantly building onto other IPs and whatnot. The training arc or a training montage of any show is always the same, right? Goku does it. What is it, like a half an episode and whatever? It's just a blah blah blah, right?
Yep.
And it's so easy to go fall into that. I'm watching Tower of God, as I tell you when I'm at work, and they do like something was like, oh, and this character trained, and this character trained, and it's so geeky and weird, right? Sometimes they don't know how to build on that. Like, what do you mean by training? What do you mean by that? Like in sports shows, that's what they do. It's like they're training, right? But they're going to the nuances of what it means to train. What it means what are the concepts that you have to understand as you're moving forward. And with this arc, it could have been just a blah blah blah. They trained, like, that's not satisfying. Instead, it took the time to basically show you how the characters function, what motivates them, why are they there. Even the Hashira's fighting, it's like, hey, like their next level. How can we keep going next level? Tanjiro is like meeting and familiarizing himself with Demon Slayer Core, which he hasn't had the time to do. And you show how he has a good heart, how that inspires other Demon Slayer Core members. You see, like, there's things that they touch upon in this show, in this training arc, that could just be blah blah blah, but they're building up. Because here's the thing, like the blind Hashira, that one episode, top episode, you can say that, like, I don't know nothing about this guy, I just know that he's weird looking. Like, because he's weird looking, he just has a scar, he's blind, he's always crying, always in a Buddhist pose. He seems like someone just put all the things that he is into a hat and start pulling them a little bit and see if he can make it into a character. But then they go into his backstory and we're like, oh no, he was a monk. He took care of kids. And what happened, like, and this is what happened, and this is how he feels, and this is why he looks the way he does. That was a satisfying short story, right? Yeah. So you got something out of it. It's not like you got nothing out of it. Like, some people want just animes to be like the next step, fight, the next step. And there's plenty of shows that are really like that, and they don't feel fulfilling. They don't get to top the charts for a reason. Because it's something that you see everywhere, right? Every single anime out there wants to be, and this character fought, and we are gonna like sprinkle a little bit of meaning behind it, and that's good enough. But they at least Demon Slayer did the extra work of like showing us like what a stake, like lifting us up a little bit, because they got tears down on the next season, guaranteed.
That's all true, but now I feel like I need to be the bad guy on some kind of things.
No, go for it.
Like, so this training arc is, I would imagine, I don't want to say this because I know we're trying to be an uplifting kind of a podcast, but I feel like they took the biggest of shortcuts when it comes to a training arc. So what we really focused on was stamina. Cool.
Yep.
What we focused on was focusing on the direction of your slashes. Cool.
So sword techniques. Yep.
And stretching.
Stretch. Hey, we were talking about this earlier. Stretching is important.
Oh, yeah. Listeners, prior to this podcast, we were talking about workout stuff, and John here doesn't stretch before he works out, so it's really funny.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Stretch is important.
And I forgot about that little tiny episode.
The point is, all of these Hashira training arcs are essentially kind of basic, and I feel that, like, what truly makes a Hashira wasn't brought out on these basic ass things. Like, yes, of course you gotta get through the basics, but like, you
weren't gonna get any of that in this short period of time. That's the problem, is that how do you hyper speed training?
In 3 weeks.
Yeah. You make them go through the basics in essentially what would be my actual workout.
Right. Yeah. I mean, for anybody to truly realize, it takes a good 6 to 9 months for a normal human to undergo a real transformation. Yep. And everybody is doing this in 3 weeks. So
I would say 2 months. Because remember, Tanjiro was bedridden for like 2 weeks. So this probably all happened.
I suppose we need to tell everybody this kind of timeline, because I was under the influence that this was like a 3 week period.
I would say this was probably a 2 month period.
Okay.
And because, again, they had started it while Tanjiro was healing. It took them, I think they said 10 days. So we'll just say it's 14 days. Well, 2 weeks to make it easy. And with the timeline that I gave, it was about 3 weeks to get from start to finish. So I would say it probably was 2 months total.
Okay. That's good to know, because that puts it into perspective of how much time in that. Because there was definitely multiple moments where all the grunts were talking and complaining. We're like, I've been here for 10 days and I haven't advanced to the next level. And that's fine.
Yep.
Because we're trying to focus on Tanjiro, which is kind of strange. Because, God, I want to go in so many directions at this point, because now I want to say, like, The title of this arc is called the Hashira Training Arc.
Yes, but that was because all the Hashira were training.
Yeah.
I took it as literal as it was.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I'm following your train. When I heard this title, I thought that the Hashira were going to be training and they're going to get stronger, not the grunts.
But technically, so if you remember during the conversation, the whole purpose of them was to fight wave after wave after wave and do all these things to get their marks. Remember, Tokuto had already gotten his mark, and Mitsuri had already gotten her mark. So they don't need to train to get their marks. They already have them. So everybody who is legitimately training...
Well, they might have to train to learn how to trigger it.
They kind of figured... They kind of were like, well, I know I can do it, but I can't explain how I did it, much like Tanjiro.
The way I'm picking this up is they have to be pushed to their limit in order for it to unlock.
Yes.
So that's understandable. That makes perfect anime sense. But at the same time, when I entered this season, I did not expect the grunts.
You came up with too many expectations.
Yeah, my expectations were way too high.
Yes.
The grunts... Sure, they can take care of the low-level demons, but we as viewers, all we're really interested in is in the Hashira fighting the upper 8, or at this point, we're at
it was 6, but yes.
6. Yeah, I'm already forgetting numbers. But we're down to 4 of them at this point?
Yeah, technically 3, but I think the Banwa, I think that's what her thing is.
The guitar girl?
Yeah,
she's considered one?
Oh, because remember because she didn't have the one eye, so I would only assume that she probably moved up and took one of the...
Like she just graduated and took it?
Yeah.
She wasn't part of the original. I guess that's what I'm kind of getting at.
So we lost 3. I'm assuming we gained her as 1 just because of she has a drastic change in her appearance.
Banwa lady. Yeah,
yes.
Can still be an awesome boss fight.
Yeah.
I mean, having a whole castle against you.
A million eyes. Yeah, that right?
Yeah, I'm saying that could be still an interesting...
That would be cool. Yes.
Cool thing to do.
Yeah, but to conclude, one of my branches of that is...
yeah, no worries.
I just wanted to conclude. My biggest complaint of this was I thought this was going to be strictly Hashira, and to see that we're getting a bunch of grunts grinding it out, cool, but we're only here for the Hashira. So a little bit of bitching and moaning, but that's totally fine.
It is fair, though. It is super fair. Because the problem with it is that the Hashira has such a big name considering how they fight.
Yep.
So seeing something better than that, seeing that they can compare themselves to high-level demons and how these high-level demons are broken. They have cheat codes, for crying out loud. It definitely makes it so it's hyping itself up a lot. It's like saying pro NBA league and you're seeing kids throw it for the first time. And it makes sense because, at the end of it all, when you're thinking about what they're training for, at least this guys, it's the bare minimum of anyone. So then you're I remember me and everyone else joking that oh wait, I can be a Demon Slayer core member. Yeah, I can barely do push-ups because everything's bare minimum for them. It's okay, you're telling me that they don't know how to hit it, swing their sword and not hit everything around it. Are you telling me that they cannot stretch? Are you telling me that they can run? Are you telling me that they cannot run miles? It's just the basics at that point.
Stretching in the 19 teens probably wasn't really a thought process. So
yeah,
really.
maybe is it a thought process today?
True.
But yeah, no, but I
do speak for yourself. You don't stretch before a workout.
Yeah. But I think I do understand the criticism of that because you're seeing you're training Hashira and you're thinking that they're gonna be creative. You think they're gonna go and fight the Hashira themselves so they can defeat a Hashira. So this character you only saw at the beginning barely struggling with any demon is now able to fight with the top Hashira and that makes it interesting, right?
If this was 500 chapters, I might see that happening.
Right.
Yeah.
But this is a 207 chapter series.
Yeah.
It's all Tanjiro. And his friends.
Yeah, but you could also bring up it could be an interesting way of adding a character that we weren't first introduced to that maybe is the underdog now, right?
So you can kill him off because that's what
you kill him off. Yeah, exactly. But it could still be interesting, right? You see this character build up, and you build him up so bad, he's along with Tanjiro, and he also gets defeated because what the heck? Nothing matters. So it gives you the hope and takes it away. It's like when you're storytelling, you're giving and taking, or you're crafting, right? So I also see like the training arc could have been better in the training aspect of it.
Yep.
So that way it's more believable compared to like us realizing that Demon Slayer Corps they're in shambles. And
They're completely incompetent, which is why we don't have more Hashira.
Exactly. Because it's like you're telling me that like if this is the Demon Slayer Corps and the members, how hard is it being an Hashira then?
Technically not. Well, Lance, I'll let you go.
Well, I was just about to say, how hard is it to be a Hashira? I mean, these Hashira are on a completely different level. Like, we can already see the difference between the Grunts and Tanjiro.
Yes.
And we can see the difference between Tanjiro and the Hashira.
Yes.
So, obviously, there's a giant mountain in between the Hashira and the Grunts.
So, I kind of think of it as the difference between a white belt and a black belt, where it's this just towering difference between skill level between somebody who does karate. I just don't think the effort is quite the same, or as many steps in between becoming a black belt or becoming a black belt from a white belt.
That makes sense. At the same time, like it makes you think like, why wasn't the Demon Slayer Corps having Hashiras train like more core members from the begin with?
Exactly, from the very beginning.
From the very beginning. Because that's another part of it. I understand people's frustration with this season for that. Because it's like, you're seeing all this and you're like, shouldn't this be part of the process? You're just throwing these people out there? Like, what's going on here?
Yeah,
fuck these guys.
We're just going to recruit any random ass person with a sword to go cut down some demons.
That sounds like the military. Come on, let's go.
Good luck.
Yeah. All I'm saying
sounds like the military.
I'm advocating for Demon Slayer Corps unions so they can get together and form an actual program that they're allowed to come back and keep training. Because at this point, it's like, I understand where people are coming from, where it's like the story, like the Hashira storyline, like the training arc storyline, definitely like there's satisfying moments, but then that amount of like ineptitude makes it to like make you wonder what the heck has been going on all this time.
Mm-hmm.
No, but then
this is like 1,000 years in the process too.
That's true. Yes. And you also have to remember that they have to be in shadows because you can't have swords.
Yeah, we got 1,000 years of being in the shadow. How the hell does Michael Jackson not know where this very specific location is if he's had 1,000 years to look for this?
Very well hidden.
I mean, obviously the first couple hundred years might be a little bit
the wisteria plants does wonders.
Yeah. I mean, there's some anime logic in here, but like he's had a long time to search the globe of Japan to pinpoint where the Hashira, where his number one enemy is.
Can you imagine how many generations of people that is if they only lived to 30 too?
They're good at hiding.
Oh my God,
they're not good at fighting. That's what we're getting at. They're hiding. They're professionals. They're like little badgers. When it comes to fighting, they don't know. They're Chihuahua dogs. They do a lot of barking, no bite.
They also, I know we're making fun of it, but they do go into the fact that they have clairvoyance, so they can avoid this from happening.
Oh, okay, that's very true.
Yeah,
they're saying Ubuyashiki, his family line has clairvoyance. That's why his family is rich, and he can tell the difference between things, and he can slightly see the future. So that's why he's always been lucky, more or less, to say.
Yes.
And reproducing with, I was about to say nuns, but like the priests, the whatever, like
handmaids.
I don't remember the specific name, but he's reproducing with women that are spiritually high and whatever.
Okay.
So like their bloodline is rich to counteract the curse that the demon bloodline has been cursed with.
Priestesses.
Yeah.
I love that they're so methodical when it comes to running away, but not about like training. They're candidates.
Hey, sometimes surviving is all that matters.
Yeah, I mean, they're truly trying to survive, and like I totally understand the idea of trying to reproduce with these high-end bloodlines in order to increase your shitty lifeline. So it makes sense, but like, I don't know. It sucks.
We're definitely going way too far into the lack of training that the previous members have. Because if they were all highly trained individuals, we wouldn't have Tanjiro, and it wouldn't matter.
Tanjiro's an outlier, though. He is just some random ass guy that got fucked over.
I mean,
and we have these Hashira here, and
So he is very important, and we're going to find out in the next in the third movie on why he's so important. But we'll just go with that.
No spoilers, but stay away from otaku places because you're being spoiled by me. For me.
I mean, there's
There's statues. There's statues.
There's going to be a portion of this population that at least are listening to us who might already know the conclusion to this.
Yes.
But at the same time, like, it's so much fun trying to guess the future, unlike you, Matt, who already knows.
Yeah.
Well, like, yeah. So,
but the one interesting thing, though, that you can, like, I remember noticing this and, like, trying to, like, go back to earlier episodes because I noticed this, is seeing Tanjiro's mark change and permanent change.
They do bring that up as well.
Yeah, so like that's one of the things. I don't know when was it in this season that it changed, and I had to go back and be like, wait a second, like they better mention this or else, because like I'm just grasping on like what does this mark mean? How is it changing?
Yeah,
they brought it up now with the Hashiras, where it's like oh, we got these different marks, and it's like. It's a concept that like I'm really curious on what they're gonna do because it's such a power scaling move that's unknown much later now. If that makes sense, it's not something like we've known about this. It's just bringing Tanjiro and then experiencing this. It brings another. Yeah, let's go there.
Yeah, so this makes me question just the marks in general. We see that Tanjiro has his mark. It's his scar that was on his burn from a child, which is weird. I would like a weird explanation on that. Like, why does his mark appear on his scar? But I also want reasoning on why his scar is getting darker. And I also want a reason on why the other two Hashira have different kinds of demon marks. What were they called? Like demon crests, something along those lines.
I think they say crests. I think they also say marks.
In the last season, they gave it a name, but whatever. The point is this mark. We have different styles, different.
So they do go into it, by
looks.
the way.
Okay, that's what I'm really hoping for. Is like I want purpose on why things might look different, and I want a reason why Tanjiro's is quote unquote darker. Because
so they go into the mark in this season.
Okay,
it's when Obuyashiki's wife is talking about it. Amane, yes.
Amane,
yeah, she's going into it over. Basically, they're like, well,
the history.
When you have one person with the mark, it basically like is almost like a disease where it spreads to everybody else.
Parasite, yeah.
Yeah. So that is why the other two Hashira are also getting it, because essentially Tanjiro can manifest his mark at this point, which is this point in the third season, which is why Tengen didn't get it, which is also why Rengoku didn't get it, because he couldn't manifest the mark.
Right. Piggybacking on that just a little bit. I don't like the phrasing of if someone gets it, someone else can get it. Like, I would like to imagine that if they just worded it a little bit differently, but like if someone has the mark, that encourages someone more to push their personal self a little bit further, push themselves through their personal barriers to break through and then achieve that scar. Like, it's just weird to say, like I was saying, parasitic, like if this guy has it, then it infects someone else and then they have the ability to get, like, I just feel like it's a personal barrier to break. That's kind of what I'm just keep getting through. Like, I just think it's too much anime logic to be like, he has it and I ate the same piece of bread that he ate, and like we shared saliva, so now I should be able to get it.
Everyone in Demon Slayer core, please kiss Tanjiro.
Exactly.
Let's make a conga line real quick.
So
I mean, we're also talking about kids essentially fighting demons that can regenerate using swords. So let's not go too deep into this one.
See, for me, the thing is, like, for me, it doesn't strike me as just another power set or another, like, you know, like how people, like how JoJo's, for example, like goes from like one power set of moves to another power scaling moves. I think what it is just building on the mystery of who Tanjiro and Nezuko are.
Yes, absolutely.
Since the fact is that, like, we never know when Musen, who's all powerful, has everything, went to his house from all places. We'll know nothing about his dad, who's still a mystery and has all this knowledge that Tanjiro is still using. So even though it's also another way of power scaling the characters, it's another way of adding mystery and having that mystery box element that we might be able to uncover the next season.
That's very true.
Because at some point, it's like the whole, like, shocking part of it where it's like Nezuko Nezuko is a daywalker. Like her and Blade are holding hands, you know, walking in the sunset.
Yes.
Daywalker is the perfect way to say this. Let's bring in more vampire talk into this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So one thing I want to bring mention of is that they haven't brought up since is in season 1, the Hanafuka earrings. So that kind of goes into just the family lore of Tanjiro. Why is that so important? Well, I can tell you, we're going to find out why. It's just going to take into the movies to find out why.
Sure. So that makes me question, are the earrings themselves going to bring some kind of power upon them? Or is that just a symbol of the bloodline that's been passed down? And that's why Tanjiro and Nezuko are so powerful. So it's going to be one of those two things.
Maybe.
I would like to imagine it's the bloodline. The earrings are just a symbol, and it just so happens to be what it is.
Yeah, some superpower earrings. That'd be weird.
Superpower earrings.
Yeah, well, we can't. I mean, as supernatural as this show is, we don't see gifted artifacts to that kind of sense. So
yes.
The earrings themselves, I would be a little irritated if they had special powers.
Like the supernatural elements are mostly almost alchemic in its way or form. It's always like the way they do the supernatural elements is the fact that Musan is a scientist, almost like Dr. Doom kind of is a scientist, where he figured out something that no one else understands, so it comes off as magic and it's demonic, when it's not like that, because Musan is like the first instance of who he is as a person. But the way he talks about it, he doesn't talk about the magical arcane arts. He talks about the bloodline and the science. You always see him like researching and whatnot. So having an artifact, it's like, what is this earring? It's a demon.
Yeah.
It would be definitely like far-fetched in its sense. It would be jumping the shark a little bit. So definitely, like, I think the safe assumption will definitely be that that family has some connection with Musan that Tanjiro hasn't considered yet, and come to bite them in the back. And something to do with his father. That's what they're hinting at. If it's not like that, well, then they have they have 2 movies to explain it. Or 3 movies to explain it.
3, yes.
3 movies. Yeah, like, I mean, if Lord of the Rings could do it in 3 movies, Demon Slayer can definitely like pull a 180.
Yes.
In 3 movies.
Yeah, and just to continue this is with our last conversation and our last Demon Slayer episode. Hopefully, listeners, you listen to that one. The number one, what are they called? Number one eyes. The number one demon of
the upper moon.
The number one upper moon. Thank
yes.
you. The one with the red long hair that strongly resembles who Tanjiro's family could have come from. He definitely looks like a descendant of Tanjiro. So something special has to happen there.
You're talking about Kokushibo.
Is that the one that with the rope?
Kokushibo.
Yeah, essentially
six eyes.
The 6-eyed guy.
Yes.
So yes, he's going to be super important in Tanjiro's life, and I cannot wait to figure out what that is.
Well, they pull out Star Wars and go, Tanjiro, I am your father. It's like, oh my god.
More or less, it's probably it's going to be. I'm going to put money on the line that he is a great grandfather of some sort.
Sure, that would make sense. That would be satisfying.
There's too much relation going on between those two.
A drama in some way or form.
And at that point, was this demon before he became a demon? Did he have that scar? And then was he fighting Muzan in the past? And then Muzan killed him and then turned him into one of his army. And like, hey, you're number one because you almost killed me. But like, I don't know. I'm just throwing shit out there. Like,
oh yeah, no,
is he the original? I think Tanjiro's great ancestor was the originator of this scar. I want to also, what's the origin of this scar? The demon, just the symbol itself. What does it signify? Why does it give extra power?
Yeah, they don't go into that. It's not worth the effort.
Okay, it's just fantastical at this point.
Yes.
Okay, so it's okay. Never mind. Okay, great. That's good to know because
you're going down rabbit holes that don't matter.
Yeah, going down.
Yeah, I think it's just gonna make it for something like anime, like tension building, where like the characters are gonna be like the Hashira are gonna be fighting this new character and be like, oh no, we're barely losing, but you know what? By the power of whatever, blah blah blah, and
power of friendship,
friendship, yeah.
And then they pan up, and then the Hashira has the mark fully given, and that's gonna like be this like, now I'm fighting, and I can move faster than before. I think that's like what they're building up when it comes to that kind of power sets and the power and that power scaling.
It's like 102 degrees and 180 beats per minute.
Yeah,
I think it was like 200, but yeah.
Yeah, it's some basically dying.
Yeah,
you're pretty much dying.
Yeah, you're in a hyperheated state, and I liked what the Miss Hashira explained it. Basically, it was if you're on the verge of death, and
Shinobu, by the way, or Mitsuri.
Mitsuri's the love Hashira.
The Miss Hashira. So
Miss Hashira's
Tokuto.
Tokuto.
Yes.
He was like basically explaining, like, if you can survive what should be death, then you're basically the chosen one.
Yeah.
Totally understandable. I accept that on full face value on this kind of anime. But at the same time, like, are we going to see that with every Hashira? I would be very hard pressed to see that come forth on these last 3 movies. Like, are we going to randomly see every single Hashira randomly start burning a mark and then prove themselves?
You have to remember, every fight with an upper moon has pretty much brought them to the brink of death.
Exactly. Yeah. So that completely makes sense. I love that, which is why Tanjiro is he burned the mark on himself. That's why he's the outlier. So like, yeah, you only progress yourself if you push past your own boundaries. There's better phrasing for that, but like you can't better yourself unless you do better, whatever. You guys know. You guys know what I'm getting at.
Until they boss themselves, to the most horrible degree, and they can barely stand up and they can barely do anything. That's when they got their power ups. The only thing about these movies that I'm hoping they do is that they are able to pull that suspension of disbelief and that suspension of like, hey, there's this power up coming up in a nice way. Because if you're sitting down in a movie for 1 hour and a half, let's say, and then every single Hashira for like every single 10 minutes is gonna come up and be like, I'm on the brink of death, and here's my superpower. That will get old. But I hope that they do it well. I hope they work with it well. I hope that they are able to explore the mystery of that well, to like add to Tanjiro's backstory a little bit more and Nezuko's backstory. And as long as they do that, the movie should be fine.
So I think, if I remember correctly, it's going to be 1 upper moon fight for the first movie, 2 upper moon fights for the third movie, or second movie, and then 2 upper moon, basically Muzan and another upper moon in the final movie.
Huh.
Is I think how they got it split up.
It's gonna be interesting. For 1 hour and a half for fights.
It's a lot. Oh. Remember, we have 60 chapters, so they're going to 100% go into more of the backstories. Guarantee you, they're going to give us backstories of all of our upper moons that we fight. We're going to go into backstories of the individuals that are fighting. We have to get to these points as well. So there's going to be a lot of woven intersecting points that kind of brings everybody together to these points. So I think that's how they're going to do it. And then, of course, they're going to make this just epic fight between the individuals. I want to say every fight is fairly long for a shonen fight.
Yeah.
And so now you're making an already long fight in a manga and you're compounding it like crazy. So I think that's what they're going to end up doing. That is speculation because I don't know. I don't know any real rumors beyond, I believe I saw 1, 2, and 2.
Okay. I mean, at this point, Ufotable doesn't know how to extend fights. They've been doing it for like all this seasons. They've been extending fights, adding storylines, adding beats, and they've been doing it flawlessly where you barely even notice. So I'm pretty sure that it's gonna be confident. I'm confident in the movies. I'm gonna be watching them, and that's the question now too. Like that shift from going for season to now going to the theater and movies is such a thing now for anime fans. It's like a historical thing. It's like, are you willing to finish this show by paying tickets and going watching the movie?
Yes.
Well, and Demon Slayer has definitely capitalized on the last 2 seasons of theatrically releasing the first episode of the season. So,
well, I mean, and you have Mugen Train, which really kind of started everything.
Exactly.
Like, would you guys consider Mugen Train, because I want to say it came out in 22. Was it like winter of 22?
It was
around that time.
It was early enough. Like, our podcast started in 21 and our first episode was on Demon Slayer. So it probably, Mugen Train came out in 21 because that's when we started this podcast.
I thought it was in like February of 22. No? Okay.
No, because listeners, if you want to go back to our very first episode, we covered season 1 and the Mugen Train movie.
Oh, okay.
So
yes.
That's as much as I can say.
Yes, that's right. Okay, I would think I was getting confused with the Swordsmith Village one that we went and saw. Like the first time they did like
the first theatrical release.
Yeah, theatrical release of the episodes. That's what it was. Or no, the Entertainment District arc. That's what it was. We watched the we went to
everything that they released in theaters.
Yes, and so I want to say Mugen Train kind of, because they broke records doing Mugen Train, and that was kind of like right at the end kind of. COVID's not actually over, but at the end of the peak of COVID is when this came out, and it was breaking all sorts of records. So I kind of feel like this was the catalyst to being like, yes, this is popular enough to become in movies, and this is something people want to see, because I'll be honest, movies nowadays kind of suck. So give me something different.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing also, like, I think that's super interesting, because, like, the thing about it, if I talk about Demon Slayer, is the impact of Demon Slayer in the movie market. Because Mugen Train would have been a straight DVD movie. How many shows? I mean, My Hero Academia doesn't come out in theaters. It's all straight to DVD, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Minus the latest one, yeah. But it was so after Mugen Train is when it started going to theaters.
Because even here, like locally, like the theaters do mostly Ghibli. That's what they do.
Yep.
They never expanded before that, for something else. And now, right now, today, which I wanted to see it and they didn't do it, but it was the Dan Da Dan 3 episodes, first 3 episodes are gonna be in movie theaters, and like it's almost like an acknowledgement of how the anime fandom is willing to move the market.
Yes.
And so they saw that, and I don't know whose idea was to put Mugen Train in theaters, but they definitely broke the market and decided to go ahead and like do this more often. And this is where the shift comes from, because realistically, the three movies could have been 2 seasons, let's say.
Yes.
But
or one 24-episode season.
But they're capitalizing on that fact of this is going to be like watching the Titanic when Titanic came out. They broke records, and it's going to be an event, right? Which is something, every single one, exactly. And it's super interesting because like this comes to a larger topic about movies, where for some people, movies are just things that you go watch. And this is where the problem where movies are becoming boring versus movies who are events, right?
Yep.
So what are the chances that the new 3 movies of Demon Slayer are gonna create the same hug bug as like the Barbenheimer, right? Because Barbenheimer was a huge event. And when that happened, the conversation online was movies as events. How can we categorize movies as events, right? And people have been trying to replicate that sense, especially after Avengers Endgame happened, and right, where Avengers was an event watching it because it was 10 years of movies built up. So now they're extending that into anime also and seeing how that plays out, which is like, I think it's a secret sauce that Hollywood is trying to replicate, and the Demon Slayer community has been able to kind of decipher in some way. So it's going to be interesting how like the numbers of these movies might impact the movie industry in general, and how it's going to confuse the American industry, because Hollywood doesn't know what we want. Hollywood doesn't know what stories we want, what we're looking for. But then when it comes to movies as events, what's the secret sauce for that? And Demon Slayer's going to do it. I feel it.
Oh my God. Demon Slayer is going to capitalize on these final 3 movies.
Absolutely.
It is no surprise that Demon Slayer is one of the most popular anime, and everybody wants to know how it ends. There's going to be a portion of the population that knows how the manga ends, but everybody wants to know how it's animated, and it's going to be beautiful. And that's the number one thing that Demon Slayer has capitalized on is its visual effects. It is beautiful. Every single episode, it doesn't even need to be a theatrical episode. The anime itself is beautiful when it comes to effects in every aspect.
Visually, it's God tier. You can argue all you want about the story not being as deep as or as fantastic. That's fine. The animation and the artwork is by far top tier.
Yeah. Talk about the flawless introduction of CGI and 2D animation, combining into one. Like it's just a combination. It's a love child of 3D and 2D. And the fact that they the one thing I always tell people is that the thing they do that no one else is doing is unique camera movements with this new technique that no one else seen.
Yeah, look at Muzan's entrance.
Exactly. When it comes to action scenes, especially in live action, you have the camera here and you gotta cut, or you gotta move it, or use a dolly, right? But look at the camera. When watching Demon Slayer, what people have to realize is seeing how the camera is constantly moving between characters, around them, between them. It's moving with attack. The camera itself is a different character unto its own. And that camera movement is not being seen anywhere because it's costly. It's horrifying, right? You gotta do the backgrounds. You gotta do the 2D characters who are in the foreground. And Ufotable being able to create these seamless CGI backgrounds and then just focusing on the characters in such a way and having a great sense of distance in space, to have this move around. Just watch the entertainment arc. The entertainment arc is such a great example of that, of seeing that like the camera is not just a stationary thing. The camera is a character unto itself, portraying what we're watching, and we're inside the battle with these characters. I don't mean to like compare, right? But to compare to like Dragon Ball Z, and what people were saying the latest Dragon Ball Z episode, right, where the animation is phenomenal. Don't get me wrong, right? But a lot of what happens sometimes is that like the characters are so fast that we cannot see them, right?
You get the lights of the things happening when the people are talking, and you're just like,
exactly.
Okay,
it's just short. It's a shortcut. Yeah,
exactly. It's shortcuts, and Demon Slayer doesn't do shortcuts as much, and you can tell because of how much you're seeing, how much you're experiencing, how much you're feeling, right? And it's something that you notice. My Hero Academia has this new season coming up, and a lot of times you can tell which parts of it are still images, right, moving around, and they're just comic book like panels, versus the actual it's like what people call it, the fancy animation. There's a name for that. So something I forgot. But the point is that you're seeing it, you're experiencing, you're there with the characters. It doesn't matter how simple it is. You're there, and it's a different experience than other movies can bring you.
Absolutely. Okay, I think we need to actually talk about the season.
Oh yeah, let's go back. Yeah, we keep jumping into the future. Let's go back to the season.
I'm loving this, and we need to come back. But we are very far into this episode, and we have talked almost zero about season 4. So let's kind of go into season 4. John, I want to open this up. Do you have a favorite Hashira character from either the entire series, because you haven't joined us in any of these conversations, or from season 4?
Tengen. Tengen is the GOAT.
Tengen?
He's the GOAT. He's the GOAT.
As you know from what's behind you, I have a Tengen character or figure. Tengen is fantastic. Do you also have one for this season, or is it also Tengen?
The blind one. The blind, what's his name?
Hajimiya?
Yeah.
Okay.
I like the idea of a humble giant, I guess, a sweet giant.
Okay.
I think he fits that pretty well. It's interesting seeing how Hashiras are essentially so different, have different ideologies, but they still come together. And Mitsuri is the easy one, but yeah, Mitsuri is all our favorites.
Mine's actually Shinobu, just throwing that out there.
Shinobu,
but yes.
Which one is Shinobu? Is
She's the poison one.
The poison one?
The insect Hashira.
Oh, I can't wait to
see
her.
He's been saying this since season fucking 1 because he knows the final. So obviously she's going to play a big fucking role.
Or she's just a great character. Come on.
No, she didn't do shit in season 4. She's obviously going to be playing a big role in the end.
She reminds me so much of this one character from Bleach, the doctor character, because they introduced her as the creepy, almost the creepy or cold doctor of the Hashira, right?
Yeah.
But then slowly she's warming up. But now they put a little plot twist on it, where she's working with a vampire lady, and she hates a vampire lady for some reason because she gets the stink eye in her most stoic way possible. So there's definitely ways for that character to like shine in some way or form. There's drama with that character.
She's good. I like her. But yes, Mitsuri is definitely an easy one to enjoy for obvious reasons.
But you were saying
the fact that she's a strong woman.
Yes.
But you were saying Hijima, right? The Stone Hashira?
Yeah.
Yeah. I would like to piggyback off of that because I'm most interested in him, because back when we saw him when he was just his younger self, or he was like 16 back when he had his children.
He was 18.
He was 18 when he became a member, but
so that was at the same time.
Oh, was it the same?
So that, remember, he has his like monologue where this all happens, and then he gets arrested, and then he basically gets rescued by Ubuyashiki.
Right.
So that's all at one same period of time. I want to say he's 18 or 19.
It was like, I think the anime was saying he was like 17 when he got rescued, 17, 18 when he became an official Hashira or whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever. The couple years doesn't matter.
Yep.
But the point that I would like to bring into focus is that Himijima was this skinny guy.
Yes.
Blind, useless, never thrown a punch until he beat up that demon.
Well, he's a Buddha, so he won't do that.
He's a Buddhist. I mean, we saw his backstory.
Yep.
We saw his pre-backstory. Now he's this fucking jacked up motherfucker. He's considered the number 1 Hashira.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see the difference on what made this weak ass individual go from
he wasn't weak. He was just scrawny.
I guess that's fair. Scrawny, yes. I mean, he was going through a strict. I mean, he denied fish from a child.
Yeah, he wouldn't really eat.
It's Buddhist stuff going on here.
Yeah,
but at this point, from our perspective, he's this jacked motherfucker.
So basically, did he get all this from eating a bunch of fish? Is that what happened?
Yeah.
Do I need to go on a fish diet? Is that what's going on?
That's kind of what I'm thinking. Like, obviously, he's a Hashira. He's living here. He's eating well.
Yes.
But how did his strength increase? How did he come across
fish and rice balls? That's all he needed.
Yeah,
pescatarian diet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, how did he get so big? How did he get so strong? Why I just need a solid arc.
You're gonna be.
It doesn't need to be.
You're disappointed. It's not happening.
No,
you got his backstory.
Yeah,
you're not gonna get a how did I get stronger backstory.
I think what
I just need to know why he
food. He ate food.
That's gonna piss me off. Why is he number 1?
Because he ate food. Because he was strong to begin with.
Sure, maybe.
I think that what's going to happen is that like you're going to see that he has a different mentality. Because from what I got is that while we have the Hashira who's aggressive,
yeah,
or we have Mitsuri who's definitely like an
flexible.
She's just flexible and big boobed.
Oh, yeah.
That's why she's a powerful.
Or we have the Mist who's like a genius, right? For
yes.
him, it's like a kindness that he has, right?
Yes,
and a forgiveness. I think that's what's going to be interesting about seeing his fight and seeing him in this season is that like he's a kind and compassionate character, despite the fact that he's on top of this game. Because a lot of people when they draw powerful characters, they do the Hujiro Hanma, like I'm the predator and you're the prey, right? And it's so easy to fall into that mentality of like if you're strong, you're mean. Like look at how most people think about strength, right? It's about like being oppressive and being like the big tiger or the big fish in the sea. And this Hashira is just the opposite, right? He's kind to Tanjiro. He treats everyone in a much different fashion. So then we see that, how is he going to treat his opponent, right?
So he's basically your anti-Thrope where it's like the nice guy can be super strong. That's basically what it is. Yeah. He's nice, and then when he needs to be mean, he is strong. So the reason why he's nice is because essentially he knows he's powerful.
Okay, so what it comes down to is anime logic.
Yes.
He got super buff for no reason.
No, he ate fish and rice balls.
He ate a lot of fish and rice balls.
And maybe some udon noodles.
Somehow learned to control stone that we have no idea about. All that we know at this moment is that he can swing around a giant spike ball.
Mace, yes. Like mace with a
sickle at the end.
An axe on the end.
Yeah, it was an axe. Yeah,
it's a spike ball and a sickle, and they're joined at a chain.
With a chain, yep.
And he's buff as fuck, and he's considered number 1.
Yes. Minus. So I think they considered Rengoku number 1, but he's kind of dead, so that doesn't really help anything.
Number 1, first one died.
Well, let's just bring this back into focus at the end of episode 8, whatever, because this is an 8. Yeah. Assuming everybody watched the kind of pathetic post-credit scenes, Rengoku had a moment where he came into the, I don't want to say concert, but like when Mitsuri and Tanjiro were talking about the shitty ass post-credit
Taijo,
the secrets.
Era secrets, yes.
His voice came through and they're like, you heard that, right? Like,
yes.
Matt, is it too much to ask? Is it a spoiler to be like, hey, can we expect him? Or
no, he is 100% dead. He is absolutely dead.
That's what I'm saying.
He got a hole in him. He is dead.
He's straight up dead.
Real dead.
Okay, so
real dead. That was never coming back.
That was just some anime bullshit. Just to be
all of those were anime bullshit.
Okay, great.
Okay,
I'm glad we can put that to rest.
Yeah, because bring Goku back, that'd be so sad.
Yeah, that's given us a lot
Lance might flip a table.
Yeah, that's given us some false hope. No, to the anime community, that gave 100% false hope.
Nobody should have thought anything of that.
They shouldn't have even done to begin with.
What? No, they just wanted everybody's favorite character, most people's favorite character.
No, because they ended it. Not only did they do like the cutesy scenery, but they also, the camera angles were like, they went into the stage and they showed behind the curtains into a void of darkness, which was obviously nothing, but they gave us viewers false hope. at this point, like, don't do this. Like,
No, nobody should have gotten any hope from that. Rengoku is 100% real dead. So no coming back.
okay, I'm glad we can say this right now because, yeah, great. Everyone knows.
Yes, but that's the whole reason for the what's that? I don't remember what the actual name is, but the Rengoku's guard piece always getting put on Tanjiro's
New sword.
new swords. Yes, Nichirin plates.
Nichirin.
And that is why, is because, he always has a bit of Rengoku with him because Rengoku is 100% dead.
Okay, I'm glad we can just put this to rest, and our listeners know that don't expect the Flame Hashira to come back.
Yes. Lance, did you have a favorite character from this season? Or was it Hajimiya?
A favorite character to pull from this is kind of hard because we got a little bit of everybody.
Yep.
It's fair to say I'm most interested in obviously the Stone Hashira, Hajimiya, but it's weird. I know we go back and forth, and like it's not fair to say favorite characters. I'm along certain categories, but like right now, my favorite character is the Wind Hashira.
Okay, and for that's Saname.
Saname, the older brother.
Mm-hmm.
It's mostly because he's so mysterious.
Okay, he's kind of an asshole.
He's a major asshole. That kind of goes like, I don't know. A lot of people like the asshole, so that's no surprise there. But at the same time, what it really comes down to was his animation for his wind techniques with that like dark green and that black to go into all of his techniques. It looked super awesome. So like I really want to see him succeed in like some, I don't know. I just want to see him do some real damage. At the same time, I do now that we're talking about the future, like not now we're talking about the future, but like we had talked about the future. I do kind of expect him to die.
Okay.
But I want to see him bust some fucking ass because I know he's such a fucking hard ass and I love his energy. And I am just
But him and Genya need to make up. You think they're gonna die together, made up?
I don't know. I think between him and his younger brother are just gonna
have feuds forever. That's fine.
It's gonna be a forever feud, and it's gonna be a sad story between him and his younger brother. But I think he's going to push his hardest. He's gonna do what he has to do, and
fair enough.
I think he's gonna have an epic battle. He's going to die. It's gonna be sad, but it's gonna be awesome.
Okay.
I think
I'm most interested in him. That's just it. I don't have a favorite. He's my favorite. I'm just most interested in him.
Okay.
I think what's interesting about him is that we're gonna say recognize him as an asshole character, but also kind of caring for his brother. But he's caring in the way that he pushes him away, so he's safe from all this.
Yeah.
You could take it as that, not being a complete asshole. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
If you want to be kind to him, right? Where he's like, no, you're not born for this. Let me just whoop you, and now since I whooped you, can you walk out of my life so you don't have to face demons anymore?
Yeah. / eat them.
Exactly. Hey.
Yeah, we need more information.
At some point, if your little brother is eating demons and you're a Hashira, you will also beat his ass for crossing boundaries over there.
Is it by eating them? He should be killing them, right? That's how that works.
Maybe. But I think there's also interest. Like he's one of the Hashiras that we haven't got enough of just yet. Also, if you think about it, so that's also what makes him a little more interesting because we still haven't seen his story or what his background is, why he's up here, why does he have his scar? If it matters, because scars are just like character traits at this point.
Yeah, he does have a wicked fucking scar going across.
Yeah, he got 3 of them.
But there's also a lot of anger and a lot of resentment that he shows, right? And he's trying to like save himself from emotions with that anger.
Well, I mean, I would be pretty angry if I saved my whole family. I saved my one living brother from dying, and then he hated me for it. So it's
there's definitely different, like there's so many things you can do with that character still, and that's what makes him so interesting, because all the other Hashiras, we somewhat get a sense of who they are. I don't know how they can grow within the fights, and because of that, like again, like all the building that we've done so far opens the door that the next story part of it is gonna be the villains, because we don't know who they are so far. Like we have a glimpse of who they are, but we don't know. So the movies can definitely have a way to shine. Like the merchandising for the villains after those movies is gonna be big. And come on, who doesn't love villains?
Especially these.
Especially these, exactly. So it's going to be like, I mean, the Wind Hashira is definitely someone to look out for, just for the fact that they still haven't touched on his motivations, on why he does it with Tracy. We gotta get a sense of how he treats his brother and why he does it. But then it's gonna be that dynamic now that they're both in the Wind Hashira's nightmare situation. Yep. He will be fighting someone who's super powerful, and his little brother, who's completely lost and lost all his fights, is there with him. So there's gonna be definitely sparks an interest on the story aspect of it. Because the fights, the thing about Demon Slayer is that the fights themselves, while glamorous, they always have a narrative coherence to them, and they always had. So
-1, yes.
Which one?
So the fight with Gyokoko.
Gyokoko
is the one with the pots. We literally got nothing about him.
No, we didn't get nothing with him. That was mostly about the Miss Hashira being less selfish.
Yes, so exactly. He got his memories back. But so the only background character, or the only background we didn't get, was Gyoko's, because we got the returning of the memories for Tokuto.
Exactly. But there's also narrative coherence on the fights, and something that we're looking for narratively, which is the reason why the fights never feel like, oh, this is just a fight and we're going through the motions, right? It's not like, and now I have this superpower and I have this superpower and now I'm going to do this move. There's always, and it's not like Baki also, where it's like, and we made a move and let's go 5 minutes on explaining the move. No, it's like, we made a move, right? But that's not the point. The point is, like, how is this character feeling at this moment? The same way that Tanjiro was comparing himself to the first demon that he fought, like the big one in the training arc. There's always a cohesiveness to the story and adding it to the fight. So when it comes to the Wind Hashira, it's gonna be phenomenal seeing how that plays out.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting more about him, getting more character development of Saname, and then really...
I mean, sorry to cut you off, because we got instantly cut off with any information because Tanjiro got forbidden to train with him
because they got into a fight.
Some bullshit.
Because no, that's very valid. It's completely valid.
It's 100% valid. I mean, he was protecting his brother, but like we as viewers got robbed of any kind of information. So that's why we're so interested in who he is and why he is. And I mean, that's why I'm choosing him as one of my favorite. I know he's strong, and we saw him in episode 1, which was obviously what you were saying was not part of the manga, but like his animation for his techniques are so mind-blowing. I just love the explosion of greens and blacks together. I think, to me, that's captivating. I fucking love it, and I personally need to know more about him. I love the idea that we got introduced to everybody in this Hashira arc, but when it comes down to it, I need to know more about him.
Yeah, so we need to know more about him. We also need to know more about Iguro, the Serpent Hashira.
Yep.
Because why is he so
emo?
I was going to say protective over Mitsuri, but yes, emo as well. Like
all of us will be protective of Mitsuri.
Yeah, but the only one that really is, like, you can tell that there's, like, is there something going on? Is there not something going on between the two of them? Because while Mitsuri gets kind of excited when all of the characters kind of like dote on her, she gets even more excited when it's him. So it's like, all right, well, why him? What's going on between the two of them that is creating this sort of connection between the two of them? So I really want to know what's going on there.
I would also like to know if there's going to be a final, like, when this series actually concludes.
Yes.
Is the Love Hashira and the Serpent Hashira going to be like boyfriend girlfriend at the end of this? Because
we're shipping. Like, the ship has sailed, boys.
Yeah, let's just conclude. I need to have a conclusion on their relationship.
Well, there's been like no relationships throughout this entire series.
Exactly, but the Serpent Hashira obviously has the biggest fucking crush on the Love Hashira.
There are relationships,
or they are already shipped. Yes,
Tengen has 3.
Oh yes, Tengen has 3 wives. Yes.
Besides his obvious relationships with his actual marriages.
Yes.
But like, let's focus on the live Hashira and the love connection between the two, because obviously the serpent wants the love.
He's protective over her. Yes.
Yeah, because he gave her the socks.
Yes.
In the last season that we saw,
and his overprotectiveness against Tanjiro.
Yeah, which was just to play into this season, which was super hysterical, which is why he never wanted anything to do with Tanjiro to begin with, from beginning to end. No matter how well he did throughout the entire training, he wanted nothing to do with Tanjiro. Totally appreciated all of that.
Because Mitsuri doted over Tanjiro.
Just because of that one letter.
Yes.
That was so funny.
So, as far as me, one of my favorite moments that wasn't the Inosuke part was the Shinobu part, where she was getting frustrated and she's like, no, I need to be like, I can't show my frustrations. You guys know what I'm talking about? We're basically like, she's starting to get a vein pop out of her head because she's getting all frustrated about something, and she's like, no, proper people don't get frustrated about this.
Oh yeah, when she's being told that she has to work with the doctor lady. Yeah.
Yes, and she's like, no, this isn't how proper people are supposed to go. Because all the other parts throughout the series, besides Tanjiro bothering Giyu for 4 days,
it's because like what's interesting with that also in that scene is that like what's her name again? The Shinobu, we know from season 1 that she absolutely hates demons.
Yes.
But not just normal hate where she just wants to kill them, she wants to torture them. That's why she's poison one.
Yes.
So having her to go from basically this pseudo prejudgmental, which I mean, I don't know how to consider that, because she has every single reason to hate demons. Demons are like the monsters that they say they are.
Yes.
So it's going to be interesting how she interacts with a demon that's not hostile, right? And that's the point, which is it's one of those tropes that I'm going to hate if they do the thing where it's like, not all demons are bad. Some of them are good people. Because like the thing is like,
you don't have to worry about that, I promise.
Okay, great.
Well, I mean, that's kind of describing what Tamio is.
Who?
Lady
Tamio.
Lady
oh
Tamio.
yeah,
Lady Tamio.
She's
the bad girl, but she's not the good
ones. She's one of the good ones.
But so she is smart enough. She is in Shinobu is smart enough to realize this is an outlier, not not all demons are bad. No, it's this demon is not bad.
Okay.
Or this demon, as in Nezuko, is not bad.
But even with that, it's interesting seeing how do you deal with that then. Like, right? Like you're dealing with the monster that haunts you at night, and the monster who haunts you now is helping you to do some good, right?
Yep.
The boogeyman came out to your door, right?
Yep.
Because they're boogeymen. They're boogeymen in this world where they're still get surprised by trains, right? And they have and no one understands that demons are a real thing because they think they're just like country folklore, right? It's interesting to see then like how they deal with that. How does she deal with the boogeyman that she's always been scared about? And those are concepts that like makes Demon Slayer, despite being in a simple story, that's what when you start getting into interesting conversation, interesting dynamics, right? And that's really all that matters when you're crafting a story. Like, what's the dynamic and the theme that you're trying to craft in this sense, right? So that's why that scene is super interesting, because now you're building on this. Oh, this is gonna be something that's gonna blow up. Mm-hmm. Someone's gonna mess up, or someone's gonna like come over their own insecurities or their own prejudgments in some interesting way.
Yep. Or you're gonna have Chibi Tanjiro doing something.
Chibi Tanjiro, yeah. Chibi Tanjiro being like, "Don't be mean to everybody."
Can we all agree that our favorite moment was the Inosuke part? I feel like that was definitely the very best part of this entire series.
Wait, which one? Because I can think of two.
The Inosuke to Nezuko being Inosuke.
Okay, that was definitely number one.
Okay. What's your number two?
Number two was when like they were in the episode 1 or 2 or whatever, they were talking, and he just fucking blew a hole through the window and like, I'm fucking here. So yes, that was very Inosuke-esque.
Yes.
So yeah, that was number 2, but number 1 was definitely him telling his sister, like, praise me. Inosuke.
So something we didn't mention, right, about talking about favorite moments and favorite parts of the season, and super important, was the actual explanation of the fox mask character and why is it
Gyu's
Sabito?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Like that storyline, like the storyline definitely was impactful in some ways.
Yes.
I don't know, like this is what like those talking about like first moment, of course, Inosuke. but having an explanation on like that character that we had a mystery on, and actually having something revealed of who they are and why they're ghosts and why they were helping, when that was a huge mystery, because there's like in this supernatural world, right? Supernatural under quotations, we never had an explanation of ghosts. This is not a ghost story show. And for once, we have a ghost that appeared for Tanjiro only, and then we never get an explanation for it. And this is like a build-up, and there was a setup for that, and now we did get a satisfying conclusion on why is it that this spirit or this character that is breaking some rules of physics and laws and whatever that we never established in this show is actually, extending our suspension of disbelief. Essentially, we got an explanation on why, and it was definitely it was a short story unto itself, and this is something that I enjoyed about this season, despite the fact that the long story arc of it was not too satisfying because it's just straining. The short story aspect was what made it. Because when you're waiting for the next episode each week, that's when the short stories to start to shine, and it was definitely satisfying to get a satisfying ending to that mystery, if that makes sense.
Yeah, then the impact of that story on why is Gyu the way he is. Well, he felt like he was never good enough from the onset of him becoming a demon slayer.
Yeah.
And so that's why he is his like emo outcast self. And so I love how they just kind of tied everything in, and then his kimono is the way it is. Just it very neatly, not perfectly because it can't be perfect, but just exactly as it needed to be, just in a bow. This is the story of Gyu. It's like, oh, perfect. Got it.
Exactly.
Yeah, it made complete sense. Without that post-credit scene, I probably would have never put 2 and 2 together.
Yep.
That it was Sabito and his sister putting 2 pieces of cloth together in order to make his kimono. Totally cool. 100% acceptable. I'm glad there was at least an explanation on why his thing was half and half versus everyone else having like their own full coat.
Yep.
I mean, it's not like we have an explanation on why Tanjiro's is a checkered pattern, black and green, but like we at least have an explanation on why he looks the way he does. So I was very happy to leave that at the conclusion that it was. So that was very cool.
Also an explanation on why he allowed Tanjiro to move on with Nezuko. Like the fact that like he himself lost a brother essentially, and how he fought for that and how he cried for that, and seeing that reflected on the first meeting with Tanjiro where he was crying for his sister, Like it just also ties the water Hashira mystery and story tension to a nice bow tie, which is something that we got, and it's nice that we're not gonna like have to deal with it more, but we got a satisfying ending to that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But like speaking back on that with just the water aspect of everything, he kind of expected Tanjiro, much like most new viewers of this entire series, like when Tanjiro was learning the water Hashira's secret techniques, whatever, we kind of all expected him to be the next water Hashira. But then we slowly learned that he got this
sun breathing. Hino Kagi Kagura.
Hinome Kag.
They're tough names. I'll give it. I do that.
Hinome Kag.
No, Hina.
You got fire sun. Something.
Yeah, it's sun breathing. We'll just call it sun breathing.
The sun breathing technique, and we slowly learned to be like, no, there's no way he's going to follow the water breathing, because obviously he hasn't like touched water breathing since like the beginning of season 2. So
well, he still uses it, but just not as his main breathing.
Yeah, like maybe he follows, I don't want to say techniques, but like just the normal basics. That's kind of the way they described it. Like water is the basic way to get yourself into everything, and then it branches out from there.
Yep. there's not really a whole lot more I want to talk about as far as season 4 is concerned. It was so straightforward, minus the backstories of people and then getting introduced to other people. And there's nothing more that we haven't really talked about.
It was surprisingly short.
It was
surprisingly short.
It was very, very short, even with 2 double episodes with the first and the last episode. So I'm really looking forward to the movies. I know as far as the movies are concerned, I've seen speculation for winter of 24. No idea when exactly, just winter. So, we're talking anywhere from November to March of next year is as far as the first season or the first movie is concerned. From what I did see, again, this is all speculation, is we're going to get 2 movies in 25 or 1 in 24, 1 in 25, and then 1 in 26. And do you guys think that they're going to conclude the entire series with the movies, or do you think they're going to do like another short arc for the conclusion?
If they're going movies and they're going 3 movies, they have to finish. They have to finish. There's no way that you can if you're going to do an epilogue, maybe an interesting epilogue, but that's about it. Because come on, it's 3 movies. When you say 3 movies, it always brings you back to Lord of the Rings, baby. And if Lord of the Rings could do all they wanted to do and be iconic with 3 movies, if Demon Slayer cannot do his stuff in 3 movies, if it's gonna feel cheap for a lot of people, it's gonna feel like a cheap catch grab where they just went, oh, we made a lot of money with the first one.
Yep.
Might as well do 3. It would feel wrong. It would feel like you're just pressing the money button. So that's my thing. I believe they're gonna finish it.
I mean, just to piggyback off that, this is a money button. This is exactly what the creators of Demon Slayer needs to do to capitalize on what Demon Slayer could potentially be as far as anime goes. Let's make extra money in the movies because it's proven in the past that the public wants to see this shit, and they want to see it early, and they want to see it on the big screen
with your friends and
with your friends
and all the other fans too,
and with the other a bunch of nerds in your community, because that's the best way to consume it. Because
absolutely,
what better way? That's why we all go to anime conventions. We want to be with our nerd friends. So if you go to a movie theater with random ass nerd friends and everybody's in there with these same expectations, they're doing it right. They know what they're doing, and Demon Slayer is doing it right.
Okay, I'm glad you guys agree with me as far as concluding with the 3rd movie.
Yeah. At this point, if all the movies make a lot of money and start breaking records again, good thing. It means that the animators going to get paid, hopefully, and we're going to get more stuff from Movie Table. That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
We can slowly expect this movie series to potentially turn into a bullshit 5th season.
They'll do the same thing that they did with Mugen Train, where they'll make it into viewable seasons, which I'm perfectly acceptable about, because not everybody can or will go see it in theaters. Perfectly fine.
Some of us just got Crunchyroll, baby.
Yeah.
Some of us just got that.
And that's fine. If you don't want to spend the however much it is to go see a movie, or you don't have time because of whatever reasons, then at least you get to see it on Crunchyroll. I'm perfectly fine with that. Also, people have to remember that originally Demon Slayer only came out on Cartoon Network / Toonami, and you had to wait a year for it to be on Funimation Crunchyroll. So yeah, it was a very long time. People don't remember this because this was back in 2017. So it was a very long time ago. Nobody thinks about that far ago. But yeah, this whole thing started on Toonami.
Man.
Yep.
The goat.
Full circle. So that's really all we have as far as season 4 of Demon Slayer is concerned. It's pretty much a bridge season between season 3 and the rest of the movies. So while we spent most of our time speculating on what's going to happen with the movies, that's kind of the purpose of this season, is to get us to know these characters and get us to think about what's going to happen in these movies, because it's going to be epic. I'm so looking forward to it. As somebody who already kind of knows what's going to happen, I'm still looking forward to it.
Let's all work out and go into Inosuke cosplays to watch the movies.
Inosuke.
Hashtag goals.
Absolutely. As long as I can carry around swords. But, Lance, I know you have thought kind of long and hard about these Pokemon quizzes, and was very nice to not go too deep into them because John is a classic Pokemon player. We'll put it that way.
Just hit me and confuse me with Pokemon. Like, let's do it. Pokemon. I'm a Pokemon fan.
Yes.
The new generation will confuse me.
Absolutely.
Right.
It confuses me, and I play Pokemon.
There's a God Pokemon now.
But there's multiple gods. It makes no sense.
Everybody is a Pokemon fan if you're an anime fan. So
Touche.
that's as far as we can throw that. So I'm going to go back to the Gen 1 stuff. So if anybody's listened to our previous episodes, I've been playing with Gen 2. So let's jump back into Gen 1. Question 1. What level does Ghastly evolve at?
Dick. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, here's a weird one.
It has to be in the 10s or 20s, I'm guessing.
I'm going to go with 18.
Give me 17.
7. Okay, you're both wrong.
Dang it.
Okay, yeah. Oddly enough, Ghastly evolves at 25.
What?
Wow.
What?
Hey,
Yeah.
he's just like me. I never evolved beyond when I was 20. When I was 25, that's when my frontal lobe finally connected.
I mean, you needed to be traded for to get him even better, so I guess that was never going to happen.
Hilarious.
All right, question 2. Lieutenant Surge had 3 Pokemon in his party. What were those 3 Pokemon?
Okay, Raichu. It's one
Right.
person.
Raichu. Yep, we got Raichu.
Raichu to go. Voltorb, I'm guessing. And I'm
Was
guessing,
it Voltorb or Electrode?
No,
it was Electrode.
Because it'd be Lieutenant. He's he needs to
Yeah.
overcompensate. And I'm guessing like the Magnet one.
Magnemite?
No, Magnemite or Electabuzz. I'm between those because Magnemite is the iconic electric Pokemon, and Electabuzz is also iconic. But also, his lieutenant, he has to compensate for being manly, and Electabuzz is the manliest electric Pokemon.
I don't think he had Electabuzz. I think it was Magnemite, Electrode, so the
and Raichu.
So it's the evolution of the Pokemon one. Is that yeah?
Magneton?
No, that's Magnemite's evolution. I'm thinking of Voltorb's evolution.
Electrode?
Electrode. There we go. Yes. So that is my guess.
Electrode, Magnemite, and Raichu. I'm okay with those.
Okay. I mean, you could guess your own. That's perfectly fine.
I was thinking whether or not it was Electabuzz, but Electabuzz seems like if his main one is Raichu, right?
Yeah.
Electabuzz, I think it overshadows Raichu considering how huge he is. Since the main course is the mouse Pokemon.
And it's, let's see, I want to say he's like 5, so that'd be way too hard. Like 4 or 5.
Okay.
And if it was like Electabuzz, way too difficult to try and like halfway through the game.
So Magnets, the Pokemon one, and the Pokeball looking one, and Raichu.
100% Raichu. I remember that one because it was such a pain in the ass to fight Raichu.
Okay.
Wrong.
Let's remember that this is the 3rd gym.
Yes. Okay, it's the 3rd gym.
You guys are wrong.
What? No.
Lieutenant Surge had Voltorb.
Okay. Oh, I mean, we had him evolved, so yep.
Pikachu and Raichu.
Raichu, okay.
Oh, he had a Pikachu? I thought.
Yeah.
Oh, I think the whole thing was that like Raichu is much better because he's
he definitely did.
He 100% said
both.
Raichu was better. But
that Pikachu must feel so bad about himself. His self-esteem is down. He goes home, gets like, oh damn it, like getting the chocolate ice cream, the Ben and Jerry's, and just go like, oh, and then you just watch Netflix. I feel bad about myself.
According to Google, the difference between red and blue and yellow was that Raichu was at level 28 in the yellow version, so he was a little bit tougher in yellow.
Yeah, see, I really played yellow specifically, so
right.
Apparently, I played the hard version.
That Pikachu is such a throwball because it's like, why you need a Pikachu if you already have a Raichu?
Yeah. Right? Seriously,
Raichu, yeah. Like it's like, here's your better brother, who's gonna like.
You also have to think that this was the basic Pokemon. The Pokemon video game came out before anything else came out, so they needed the basics of the Thunder.
Touche.
At the same time being early enough in the game.
Fair.
So that's the only bone you can throw them. All right, my 3rd question. Can Mewtwo be obtained before the Elite Four? Yes or no?
I'll let you go first.
I know he's in a cave.
Okay.
And you gotta open the cave.
Okay.
Now, the thing with Pokemon is that you got the mythical types
True.
that you run the main way. I think it's after, because we usually, like, for example, I had Sapphire version.
Okay.
And then you always
Don't think too deep. This is Gen 1.
Yeah, it's Gen 1.
But there's a setup. I think it's
So
after. I think it's after.
red, blue, or yellow. And no, it's after. Because I remember specifically trying to go into the cave and it would kick you out.
All right.
I'm
Yes.
after cave, because the Mewtwo is like the thing you go, like, it's not the main game. It's something you go to your friends afterwards and be like, guess what I got, bro?
And I think it was like, what, level 70 or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah.
makes
The
sense.
answer is yes. It is only obtainable after you defeat the Elite Four.
All right. So I'm batting 3,300% because that's what 1 for 3 is my average.
Yeah, that's fair. Because I was about to say, yeah, you're 2 for 3. No.
No,
the
definitely
Ghastly
not.
one. Yeah,
The Ghastly one
I
threw
threw
me
that
off.
one for the shot. 'Cause that one was a crap shot. Like that one's very hard. I didn't even know that one. I had to Google that one. So gotta throw those random evolutions out there.
I'll be honest, I didn't run Ghastly ever.
Not many people do.
Because Ghastly is like the one thing, like, it's not a Pokemon you run mainly. Gengar now, on the other hand. You're only getting Ghastly is for Gengar.
But you needed Haunter to get to get Gengar, and yeah, I pretty much did it to get Dex completion.
Okay.
So
Yeah. All right. So you guys did an okay job. At this point, I'm just happy that you guys answered at least one correct.
the last one was really easy.
When I give you guys a level evolution, that's
no.
quite the curveball.
That's not gonna happen. Like,
No.
I played Sapphire and Red. That's all I played.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Our new guy, he's not
And-
that in depth.
And Curveball. Pokemon Stadium on the N64.
Oh, ooh.
But you
I
don't,
have that upstairs.
You don't slowly train guys.
I have it on my iPhone because you can emulate it.
Well, I have an N64 and Pokemon Stadium.
Oh.
It's a fun one. It's
It
a
is.
fun one. The Lickitung game. Oh, it's going.
Yes. Stadium 2 is better, I'm just saying.
And if anybody's interested in any of those, if you have a Nintendo Switch and you play with the Nintendo Plus system, they're free on there. So you can play Pokemon Stadium 1 and 2 on there. It just costs a little bit of extra money every year.
A tidbit over here. I'll give you guys a tidbit. iPhone, you can download Delta. It's an emulator. You can emulate it.
Or you can illegally do stuff. We are not.
We do not promote illegal things.
We do not promote illegal things. Cops.
No.
So, because we have somebody who says Attack on Titan is in their top 3, I had just recently seen that they are in the works of basically remaking already the conclusion of Attack on Titan into a movie to more grab on some of that money for movies. What do you guys think of Attack on Titan trying to essentially remake a very recent conclusion and supposedly change part of the ending?
Depends what they change. It depends. Here's the thing. If they're gonna make the movie, it's gonna be like, when they say remake it, right?
Yes.
Is it just making it look better and changing things almost like what they do like when Blu-ray? Or does it mean that like they're gonna change the focus of the ending itself? Because that's a major point.
From what I remember, Matt,
Yes.
when we covered the finale of this series in
Yes.
one of our previous episodes, listeners, you can go back and find our episode where we talked about it. Spoiler alert, I'm pretty sure the ending was different.
Correct.
So,
really?
the manga had a different ending from the anime.
Correct.
What was the manga ending?
The manga ending was essentially cyclical, saying that no matter what changes, it's going to happen again.
Huh. Interesting.
Essentially, without giving too much away, for anybody who actually wants to know what the changes are, go listen to our episode covering the Attack on Titan final. But yes, it's essentially no matter what changes, it'll happen again.
Okay. Interesting.
So it'll be very interesting if that's what they decide to make into the theatrical ending versus the anime ending, which was a little bit different. Lance, while it was a little bit different, it was kind of a similar conclusion.
Yeah, it was a clean conclusion. as an anime fan, I can probably go against the grain. Like, I was very satisfied with the way it ended.
Oh, I was satisfied. I didn't understand why people were so mad about that.
Exactly.
Because it wasn't what they wanted.
Yeah, they wanted everyone to grab hands, sing Kumbaya, and then everyone survives. And it's like...
Or they wanted it to be like the manga, and it wasn't exactly like the manga, so they were pissed off.
So,
yeah.
Well, you know what? As in some points, let's say like it's not a bad choice because at the end of it all, like multiple endings is not it's not a new thing for movies and
absolutely not.
And so like it won't detract from the anime if you like the anime, right?
Yep.
As long as it keeps the same themes, that's really all that matters. Because at the end of it all, Attack on Titan is a heavy thematic story. So as long as it keeps with that, war never changes.
War doesn't change; it's cyclical. That's very true. So what do you think? You looking forward to it then?
I'll look forward to it. I don't know if I'm gonna go to theaters to watch it. That's
fair.
That's the part of it. Like the point of watching movies in theaters is getting that new experience. To have a rewatch, it's a much harder sell. I feel like. If it's in Crunchyroll and you give me a multiple choice at the end, it's episode 15, season. No, what did it do? Chapter 2, season 5, finale, part 5.
Fuck, I don't know.
And then they hit you at the end with a multiple choice. Then I would choose.
Crunchyroll makes it complicated.
I like the idea of categorizing it as multiple choice. Like, that's kind of funny. If they're going to go with the manga route where you're like, yeah, this has the very real opportunity of just straight up restarting again, and like this shit never officially ended.
Yeah, it's a create your own adventure. Do you want this ending or this ending? Pick one.
Yeah. Do you want a clean ending, or do you want to see all this chaos start all over again?
My real question will be, once it comes out and most people are acquainted with both endings, what's the community consider like the canonical ending if they want to like fantasize about a future of the series? Manga for sure.
Manga. Yeah.
And if that's going to be the case, has the mangaka come out with anything to say anything about anything?
That great sentence. No.
Like, I know that was a fucked up sentence, but like it made sense. Like, is the mangaka does he have plans for like, hey, yeah, we're doing a spin-off, but it's like not really a spin-off, but like we're doing a post series.
I thought I saw a Levi origin story spin-off series, but I think that's it.
That'd be fun.
That would be very interesting because we got a little bit of his origin story, but we didn't get enough to really satisfy anything.
Because the thing is, like, while it's shocking that, for some people it might be shocking to have a multiple ending story, it's nothing new. Also in video gaming, there's something that happens. I'm gonna like completely like lose your audience with this. For someone who's a fan of the Five Nights at Freddy's series, there we go. We lost 1,000 viewers. There we go. So did they do that's really fun when it comes to endings? So that all games have multiple endings, but then they pick up which one is the most popular one on the franchise or the community to then further around on the next one, right?
Yeah.
So it's a way to interact with community sometimes when you get multiple endings to something and see what they like and what they receive well.
Fair enough. Yeah. No, that's perfectly fine. I am looking forward to it for the simple fact that I am curious on what they do. I probably won't go see it in theaters though.
I'm gonna wait for Crunchyroll.
Yeah.
And just one day I'm gonna just make extra popcorn and just give it a rewatch.
Yeah, I think if they can try to make some money on doing theatrical releases, but if they want to just do something normal, they can do like what they did with Spy Family and release it on Crunchyroll right away. Wow. And the community will be very happy with that.
It definitely wasn't right away because that was like 6 months ago when the movie came out.
The Spy Family movie?
Yeah, it was a while ago.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well,
but yeah, no, they can do like what they used to do, where instead of being immediate, it's if you don't go see it in theaters, you're eventually going to get it, and then you're going to have to wait.
Especially when you're dealing with the anime community, because the anime community is one of the most like merchandise heavy communities.
Absolutely.
Even if you miss out on sales, like you're gonna gain a lot on merchandising. Hey, look at this room. Hear it. Not even Disney can compete with that, and like that's what Disney likes. You know, that's how they make their main catch.
Yeah, merchandise.
Sure. Yeah. I'm not the person asked about that one, but I believe you. So.
So I think that's going to conclude today's episode of Demon Slayer Season 4, the Hashira training arc. Thank you everyone for who has listened to us this far. Please leave us a like and a follow to help us grow. Also, please make sure to follow the AnimazeShow on Facebook. They post everything that's new about anime. So they're a great source to follow. And we will catch you guys next time.
See ya.
Have a good one.